The Link, here on Breeze 93.9 FM.
Would you believe it would take such a thing with me? Give it to a policeman now. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. And if I did, who would you say, sir? Go ahead and put the charge on me now. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I'm not a fool to hurt myself. I'm innocent to what they done to me. They were wrong. They were wrong. Give it to me one time. Give it to me 2 times. Give it to me 3 times. Give it to me 4 times. 46 was my number. What is my number now? Right now. Someone else has my number. 54, 46 was my number. What is my number now? Right now. Someone else has my number. Would you believe it would take such a thing with me? And give it to a policeman now. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. And if I did, who would you say, sir? Go ahead and put the charge on me now. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I'm not a fool to hurt myself. I'm innocent to what they done to me. They were wrong. They were wrong. Give it to me 1 time. Give it to me 2 times. Give it to me 3 times. Give it to me 4 times. 46 was my number. What is my number now? Right now. Someone else has my number. 54, 46 was my number. What is my number now? Right now. Someone else has my number. Whoa, the taxi driver won't stop for me. Stop for me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whenever I like him down, he won't stop for me. No. Can't stop it. Just whoa, the taxi driver won't stop for me. Stop for me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whenever I like him down, he won't stop for me. No. Can't stop it. Just can't stop it. Nobody move. Nobody get hurt. Nobody move. Nobody get hurt. They used them are coming in a white collar shirt. He said, berserk. He said, he want me to join the army. Oh, I'm not gonna do it. Oh no, I'm not gonna do it, officer. Oh, taxi driver won't stop for me. Stop for me. Whenever I flag him down, he won't stop for me. No. Can't stop it. Just whoa, can't stop taxi it. Driver won't stop for me. Stop for me. Whenever I flag him down, he won't stop for me. No. Can't stop it. Just can't stop it. You look up a taxi. You look up a taxi. Driver. Look up a taxi. You look up a taxi. Driver. Look up a taxi. You look up a taxi. Driver. Look up a taxi. You look up a taxi. Driver. Driver. Yes, sir, taxi driver.
Go signa uli die sombranza ten mak et zu ita saluda antes Dio niga Radzaudz and Malakes frezas durante in todo in memu a no gi distancia como cupu gi palu Zangiman malak guafi ikonuna sugi airi prebatu la noci nai banderata gaigi pues Atten fanni bandera Kau esta pagua pumalapa Giluk tanu man libri Tentami ti man ko badi
morning, Sabrina. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning. Good morning to all the street lights across the street. It costs you less. All the spotlights.
Yeah.
Everything's still dark outside.
It's still dark at 6:23, Thursday, February 3rd. Welcome to another episode of The Link here, 2022. Yep.
Gotta hand it to those National Weather Service guys, man. When they forecast that the sunrise will happen at 6:48 on the dot, they're rarely wrong.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good morning, Facebook Live, The Breeze. Good morning on you. We're KUAM-FM, Magana, Guam. It's all brought to you by Pacific Points, Cabo Enterprises, ITD, and Jack in the Box on this it's a beautiful Thursday morning. Sir, is it beautiful out there? Yeah, it is. Okay, good. Right on. Good morning. We got a big show for you guys. Getting a bunch of senators on to talk about the governor's budget proposal that was submitted to Legislatura. We're also getting Fair and Tyrant, the Guam Guy podcast. It's a new one on the KUAM podcast network. We're getting Mayor Luis Rivera. There's a hearing on the Vista Del Mar project. This is the second one coming up. Maria Pangilinan, Guam Election Commission. It's election year, Bree.
Sure is.
Yep, wait for it. And then we'll go in with APL and what they're doing with the Harvest House. And we've got Beauty Camacho, a young entrepreneur, which Jason's going to have a great interview with. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I actually saw Beauty the other day, and
Nice.
she was she has really made entrepreneurship and helping young people with ideas really make their dreams a reality. And hats off to her. She's a good person.
Good morning. It's 6:24. Jay, what's up with the testing? Because I drove by the Gap, so they don't test from like 12 to 1.
Oh, the Gap in test? I thought you drove by the Gap. I was
No.
picking
Yeah,
up a shirt.
I drove by Tisa and I was like, oh my God, there's no one there. Mission accomplished.
So
But-
so 8 to 12, and then they take a break to disinfect, and the people kind of the crew, they disinfect, collect themselves, maybe grab a bite to eat, and then they go again from 1 to 3.
Right. So can you check out what's the deal with the testing? Do we have any availabilities? Guys, remember they're
Yes, in fact,
doing a priority testing. Did they change it again?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
We're showing you right now. Tickets available. Remember, you do need an appointment, so we say this all the time. tinyurl.com/COVID stops with me. This is for the Tizen testing site over at the old Carnival grounds from 8 to 12. And as Chris just said, they take a break from 12 to 1 and then from 1 to 3. So there are slots available today, Thursday, tomorrow, Friday, and then on Saturday.
Nice.
Saturday's only, I believe, 8 to 11. Wait, hang on one second, Joe, sir. Okay, or actually, I stand corrected. Saturday, that would be the 5th. It is like a normal day, so 8 to 12,
Okay.
1 to 3.
Thank you.
I'm not sure, and I've been trying to figure this out. I've been trying to follow up. Do you guys know? Can you make an appointment at the second testing site, the one at Oka, or do you just show up?
I don't think so. I think you just show up. Thank you, Jay.
Yeah. So so again, tinyurl.com/COVID stops with me. You can also, if you have symptoms, if you're not feeling well right now, you can be seen at the Dedido or in Alahan Public Health Regional Testing Centers. Of course, the number is always, I'll throw it in there in the comments once I catch my breath, because I was like doing that long haul thing with Joseph with the camera. It's 671-635-7525 or 7526 for Dedido, 671-635-7525 or 7526. If you do have symptoms, now if you want to go to the Dedido clinic, you need to have symptoms and you do need to make an appointment. So please call that number down in Ilahan. For everybody basically in Central, South, what have you, that number is 671-828-7604 or 7605. Or you can, again, we always say this, you can contact your private clinic if time is of the essence. If you have your own family physician, you can contact them, let them know your situation, what you might be feeling and everything like that, and then you can work it out. So best of luck to you, and thank you guys for caring for our island community, because, man, 770 cases last night, Chris, out of a sample set of 2145.
Yeah.
That's a positivity rate of 36%. And as alarming as that is, so basically better than 1 in 3 people that get tested are popping positive. The previous day, on Wednesday, yesterday, it was 41%.
Yeah, and then
That's
there's been some deaths, sadly, this week. There were 2 more reported last night, right, which we'll get to in the news. Good morning, Facebook Live. Bennett Lujan, Duenas, Liz Agagi, good morning. Rosemary Laguatnia, good morning. Emma Olalia, good morning on you, girl. Angel Pete Quintanilla Castro, thanks for joining us again. Perry Kiyomi Yalomar, good morning. Good morning. Therese Napati, good morning, KUAM team from Baza Gardens. There you go. Tony Martinez, good morning. Chris, Sabrina, Jason, Mananas Idulus, Link family, well, good morning on you too. Mary May Macias, Coney Hug and Loose, good morning, Guam. Fatima Baxter, Ben Kai Santos, Hoffaday team KUAM 671, Guam Strong Familias. Bev Tess, Jay Solis, what's up, DJ Joe, sir? You got fans, sir? We got fans in here. How many fans we got in here? Because the aircon's down.
Okay, and and Link fam, like you guys have always been so good with like tech support on this show. Let us know if you hear like a slight bit of a hum. Okay, and this is the hell that is our life as KUM broadcasters, right?
Oh, such a hell! Oh my God!
No. As long as I've been a KUM, right? And Sabrina and I know this. Like way back, like in the early 2000s, when we would do like all night election coverage, it would be super hot in the studio because all the lights were on because we were using like basically like 3 sets at the same time. So there's lights on. We're wearing like full suits, and you can't use the little oscillating the floor fans because the mics that we use, like on our suits, were so sensitive it would pick that up. So it's like, all right, no fans, no aircon, a lot of sweat.
Yeah.
So if you guys happen to hear like a little bit of a hum, just let us know in the comments and everything like that. But Bree's got a personal fan. We got one over here. Joser, I did not know. Apparently, he just earned a certificate in HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning because we had another fan.
It was an experience degree.
Yeah, and I was like, Joe, you're gonna just bring it in? And he goes, no, we'll set it up outside and draw the cool air in. And I was like, eee.
There's a lot of theories about that, right? How to get the cool air in. So
Joe Sir considers that like KE, Kababayan Engineering.
What day is this, Jay? Day what with no aircon?
This is the 4th for us, starting at the beginning of the week.
4th day, no aircon.
Oh, I'm sorry. Speaking of numbers, guys.
My Fafa is crying right now.
I would actually prefer not to hear that.
Yeah, okay.
Oh.
Speaking of numbers.
Okay, yeah, speaking of numbers, I got a quiz for you. What week is this of the Omicron surge? Is this the 4th? It started the last week of last year?
The 5th, maybe? Yeah, last week of last year.
4th, 5th?
I don't know, kind of the beginning of January.
Oh, there. Thank you, sir.
Fan me, fan?
Oh, yeah.
It's
Wait, so is that
6:30.
battery powered or is that USB or what?
Solar.
Okay. Oh, if it's battery powered, I don't think that's lasting past 9 o'clock because we got that thing on full blast.
This Thursday, February 3rd, 2022. Juvie Marie, thank you for joining us. Janet Perez, good morning on our Facebook Live stream. Let's go ahead and get into the news. Shall we? Our first look at news is brought to you by Pacific Points this morning with Sabrina Salas-Mazzanani from the KUAM News team.
This
good
news
morning,
update
Sabrina.
is brought to you by
Good
Pacific
morning,
Points.
everyone.
Do more,
Two more deaths
get
related
more.
to COVID-19 were reported last night by the Joint Information Center. The death of a 73-year-old woman on January 31st at the Guam Regional Medical City marked the island's 295th COVID-related fatality. She had underlying health conditions and was unvaccinated. The island's 296th COVID-related death is a 69-year-old man. He was brought to GMH yesterday and was dead on arrival. He also had underlying health conditions and was unvaccinated. The JIC also reported 770 new COVID cases out of 2,145 tests analyzed. Of the new cases, 80 were reported through the Department of Defense. There also were 47 people hospitalized with the virus as of last night, 24 of whom are at GMH, 21 at GRMC, and 2 at U.S. Naval Hospital. There are 5 people currently receiving ICU level of care. 1 is on a ventilator. To date, there have been a total of 33,788 officially reported cases, 296 deaths, 6,090 cases are in isolation, and there have been more than 27,000 recoveries. As of February 1st, a total of 133,136 of Guam's eligible population is fully vaccinated. The Guam Department of Education reported 13 new COVID cases among employees and students. On Wednesday, 12 were confirmed student cases, 1 an employee. To date, there have been 775 GDOE students and faculty members reported positive for COVID since January 3rd. Of that number, 654 were students and 121 staff. The CNMI reports 252 new cases of COVID out of 1,037 tests conducted on the 1st. Of those cases, 180 were identified through contact tracing, 66 found in community testing, and 6 via travel. 1 was identified on Tinian, and 16 on Rhoda. There are now 9 active hospitalizations. Of those in the hospital, 5 are unvaccinated, 3 vaccinated, 1 is partially vaccinated. The CNMI has a vaccination rate of 99.4%. The case count since March 2020 is now at 5,314. During their weekly briefing on Wednesday, Public Health released the findings of a joint investigation with the CDC into last year's COVID-19 related fatalities. The investigation also assessed common characteristics associated with the transmission, severity, and surge of dead-on-arrival cases, despite the island's high vaccination rate. Daniel Perez reports.
In 2021, there were a total of 145 COVID-19 related fatalities. A majority, or 127, occurred during the island's third surge of COVID-19, which occurred between July 8th and December 31st, 2021. Of that number, 49 were dead on arrival. The investigation found that a majority of all the COVID-19 related deaths in 2021 skewed toward males and the island's elderly populations. CDC epidemiologist Dr. Scott Laney.
Our key takeaway findings is that 80% of the DOAs were unvaccinated. In addition, 63% were over 60 years of age and 63% male. So the unvaccinated issue is very, very important with regards to the DOAs. Health and other disparities were observed among the DOAs as well, including diabetes, chronic renal disease, and cardiovascular disease rates that were elevated compared to the prevalence in the population.
Other findings of the investigation determined that nearly all the DOAs were associated with a Delta surge. Over 1/4 had an education level less than the 12th grade. 67% of COVID-related fatalities in 2021 had a combined household income of less than $35,000 a year. 22% had a household income of less than $10,000, and almost 24% did not have health insurance. While the study has been completed, the CDC and Public Health continue investigating current trends. In the past 2 days alone, there have been 8 dead on arrivals to local hospitals. Territorial epidemiologist Dr. Ann Pabutsky.
Most of them have occurred in the past 3 weeks. There's been 21 deaths in January 2022, of which 13, or 2/3 almost, were dead on arrivals. So we are seeing this surge during what we believe is Omicron, and we're seeing something similar where we're seeing elderly people.
Of the DOAs this year, 9 were fully vaccinated, 4 of whom were boosted. Lead epidemiologist for State Epidemiological Outcomes Work Group, Dr. Annette David, urges residents to stay vigilant against the virus.
We want folks to seek care early to avoid hospitalization. So if you have symptoms and you're at high risk, get tested. If you test positive, make sure you speak to a physician to see if you qualify for the antivirals or the monoclonal antibodies. And the point is to try and do everything that we can early to avoid hospitalization, to protect you before you even need to be at the hospital.
Daniel Perez reporting for Guam's News Network.
The Department of Corrections has seen its fair share of COVID cases during the Omicron surge. DOC spokesperson Major Antone Uggan tells KUAM the prison has had 29 employees pop positive for the virus since January 10th. Of those 29, 28 were corrections officers, 1 was a civilian staffer. 21 of the 29 cases have already been cleared and the rest remain in isolation. 10 of the prison's 630 prisoners are positive and all are isolating at DOC's isolation facility. Of the 10 positives, half are vaccinated and 1 of the vaccinated received a booster. The major also shared that 188 DOC employees are fully vaccinated, with 56 in receipt of their booster shots. 7 employees are not fully vaccinated. Was Austin Dodge a consumer of child pornography or an advertiser? More importantly, what's the difference between the two? That question was clarified in the District Court of Guam. Tyler Matanani reports.
23-year-old Austin Dodge appeared via Zoom from Florida with his father by his side. He's one of the youngest defendants to be sentenced before Chief Judge Francis Tydenko Gaywood and the first to be charged with advertisement of child pornography. He pleaded guilty in November of 2021 after he was busted for sharing a link to a file that contained approximately 18 videos of underage girls engaging in sexual activity. That file was shared amongst 41 other people in the online chat room known as LiveMe. The court continued his sentencing to this month because it needed further clarification on what it meant to be a consumer of child pornography versus an advertiser. Today, it was made clear that Dodge's offense was more severe because instead of just viewing the illegal content, he created a link and shared it. The prosecution was seeking a 7-year sentence. Ultimately, he was sentenced a little over 5 years since it was his first offense and has no prior record. He addressed the court. Quote, "When I first started dabbling into this, I never thought of what I was doing. I didn't realize at the time the extent of what I was actually doing." He expressed that he felt disgusted and miserable after just 2 months of engaging in the illegal activity. Quote, "Even to this day, I still feel bad and miserable and resentful to what I did." He continued, quote, "I'm sorry to any of the girls that were in those videos. I didn't think at the time I was doing them any harm, but now I see how it is doing them harm. I really wish that this would have never happened, both for me, for them, for everyone." He will be on 10-year supervised release after serving his sentence, must register as a sex offender, and pay a $100 special assessment fee. Dodge was stationed at Naval Base Guam at the time of the incident. He will serve time at a federal prison in Florida. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Tyler Matanani.
29-year-old JJ Tamangug is facing child abuse and other charges after allegedly assaulting a woman and her children, some of which were caught on camera. According to a magistrate's complaint, the woman reported to officers that on January 31st, Tamangug had been assaulting her for 6 years. She said Tamangug had punched her 9-year-old child on one occasion and recently slapped and punched her in the face. On January 30th, he allegedly beat a 3-year-old child with a wooden spoon and slapped him in the face. That incident was caught on surveillance, where police observed Tamangug also kicking the child twice, at least once in the head. He was charged with child abuse as a third-degree felony, family violence as a third-degree felony, 3 counts of child abuse as a misdemeanor, and 5 counts of family violence also as a misdemeanor. 36-year-old Teresa James Douglas was arrested and charged with 2 counts each of child abuse and family violence, all as misdemeanors. According to a magistrate's complaint, a witness reported that on January 31st, he saw Douglas chase his 2 children with a hanger. He said while he was dropping Douglas home, she also allegedly dragged the 10-year-old child from the car and began to choke her. Officers noted the child had red marks on her arms and legs. Now, as we reported, Governor Lulian Guerrero appeared before Congress yesterday seeking, among many other things, a new round of federal financial assistance specifically for Guam and other U.S. territories. With details, here is KUAM's Nestor Lecanto.
Governor Leon Guerrero appeared, along with other territorial governors, before the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee, which has oversight of the territories. She mentioned Guam's more than 90% plunge in tourism arrivals and how a full recovery is not expected for another 3 years.
I asked this committee to consider passing an additional relief package specifically for territories to address previous federal aid disparities and our prolonged hardship due to reliance on international tourism.
The governor actually led off her remarks, seeking more funding for her proposed new hospital complex.
Last year, the House passed the Build Back Better Act, which included $347 million to construct a new hospital as recommended by the Army Corps.
Ironically, Oversight Chairman Senator Joe Manchin is largely blamed by his fellow Democrats for scuttling President Biden's BBB proposal in the Senate. Meanwhile, Leon Guerrero also asked for help with critical skilled foreign labor needs.
I ask you to extend the exemption to 2029 and establish a Guam-only temporary need criteria within the H-2B program that would recognize other qualified need as determined by the governor of Guam.
And the governor also sought compact impact reimbursement, or at least an offset of the $150 million GovGuam estimates it spends each year on COFA migrants.
I just want to make it very clear that we love our brothers and sisters from the islands, and we want to help as much as we can. But we would like to have the financial means and the funding source to continue on with that help.
Today marked the first Senate oversight hearing on the state of the territories since 2019. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
At the same hearing, CNMI Secretary of Finance David Atalig was peppered with questions by U.S. senators about China's influence in the Pacific, dodging questions about investment in the gaming industry. Tomas Manglotnia reports.
The Northern Mariana Islands singled out by U.S. senators on China's reach in the Pacific.
As we talk about the influence and the presence of China in the Indo-Pacific area of responsibility, I think that they very much had a presence in CNMI. Correct, Mr. Secretary? Mr. Secretary?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Their presence were in terms of bringing tourists in.
Yes, so they had quite a presence, and I think they were bringing gaming into CNMI.
NMI Secretary of Finance David Atalig testifying on behalf of Governor Ralph Torres, who recently tested positive for COVID before the Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources at the nation's capital. Senators peppered him with questions about China's tension in the region.
Are you concerned about China's moves in the Pacific with regards to your neighbors, where China might try and build military installations or expand illegal fishing? And what would that mean to the economy and your nations and your security?
Atalig seemed to be caught by surprise.
But to the question of the economic dominance that they're trying to do in other neighboring islands, I don't have a straight answer from our position. We do know that other islands are benefiting, financially in terms of economic input into their economy, but we're under the U.S. flag, so we seek to this body for our assistance, and we continue to build on our partnerships. So I will bring back this question to our leadership and make sure we have a thorough answer and response for the committee.
What Atalig failed to mention is the influence of Hong Kong-based Imperial Pacific International's Best Sunshine Casino on Saipan, which secured an exclusive casino license in 2014, with big promises, including over 2,000 guest rooms, 17,000 square meters of gaming floor, and a $100 million themed entertainment facility. The total cost then mounted to $3.14 billion. Those are now essentially gutted after facing countless federal lawsuits totaling millions related to inhumane and dangerous working conditions. In one case, the NMI District Court ordered the company to pay 7 Chinese workers over $5 million for dangerous conditions last May.
So go back 2019 and before, because we saw a pretty rapid rise of Chinese nationals construction. I know there were several different challenges with labor laws being violated with the 45-day basically visa process to be able to come from China, that we saw some Chinese companies coming and doing construction, bringing in Chinese nationals, not paying them basic wages there, and then moving back and forth. What do you anticipate happens once we get to the other side of COVID, even so, Lord come, when that day comes? What do you anticipate happens? Do we return right back to that again?
No, thank you for that question. This pandemic gave us an opportunity to revisit a lot of the policies we have as a Commonwealth. And one of the issues is in our tourism sector.
Atalig says the pandemic acted as a reset to revisit policy decisions.
Appreciate that. Obviously, we don't want to hurt tourism. That's a major feature of the economy, and we understand that, want to be able to recover again. But we want to be able to protect the integrity of the workforce, what's actually happening there.
Tomas Manglotnia for KUAM News.
Thanks, Tomas. After searching for island residents to care for over 500 of Guam's foster children in need of placement, the Gift of Family campaign accomplishes recruiting 19 foster families in the last 5 months. The Mayor's Council of Guam announced that achievement during their meeting yesterday, stating CPS has received 19 foster families to date. There's only 36 licensed foster families. The MCOG, in partnership with Harvest House and the Archdiocese of Viganha, launched the recruitment drive in October of last year to address the shortage of foster families. Although the MCOG achieved their goal, the campaign will continue through May, which is Foster Care Month. With your news in Chamorro, here is Ken Concepcion.
Buenos updates to get soon to be Chamorro ni KUAM News. Presenta ni Familian Mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank. Manali ini kan naugan ng gobyerno ng teritoryo siya, dyan man maga si White House ni Kongreso o siya ng gobyerno federal na ahensya siya para Interagency Group on Insular Areas nominento ni U.S. Department of the Interior. Imagahaga Lunio Guerrero sa explica 2 na punto. Ilingan na ilingguan federal giaji Digital Equity Act. Sa na saunay teritoryo siya za requesta no amendi adyo na lay. Pagpaformanoy loki teritoryo siya profangay beneficio giaji mapropopusu na sulapi no 2.65 billion pesos para broadband expansion na programa. A requesta loki no matulay kay formula para di programa Airport Infrastructure Grant. Iling niya nagitinituhon ni este na programa i 2024 na sakan i-formula ni para mana setbi para madetermina i para ma-award sa 2022 na formula employment. Kumikling nga dyan ay numerong guahan sa 40 na rinibaha serpi sa puri sentak papaestay bisita ni man mafatugin ni Madzod na market tourism. Masasunto, ma-record ni Islata 4 talo mas na finaytay COVID-19 gi imatis. Puto di man matay sa istakahulo gi 294. Imina 291 sa 80 anyos na lahi no mabakuna lo gaitsa nud ortusiya gi Guam Regional Medical City gi dia 21 gi Enero. Positibo test niya para COVID gi adsa mismo na dia. Imina 292 na pinaytay. Sa 85 anyos na lahi, nugay sa nung otusiha, lumabakuna esta, gi Guam Memorial na Hospital, gi 31 gi Enero. Masoda na nansin ni COVID, anay mates gi 25 gi Enero, bago nasakan. Palawan no 68 anyos na edad, dati mabakuna sa imina 293 na pinaytay. Desta lokwe gait sa nung otusiha, matagi Guam Memorial na Hospital. Positibo test niya para COVID gadza mismo na dia. Imina 294 na finaytay sa 98 anyos na lahi Ginebra Hospital, gidatan tayo gi Enero. Positibo test niya para COVID gadza na dia lokwe. Todi 4 na biktima sa mapronunsya naman matay naman matugato gi hospital. Yuto mo na suntog ifinut sa Moro para pagwa na Merkules gini KUAM News. The Department of Corrections sa Malilo kipatiniya no inatisan kausan COVID ang nakahuli Omicron na virus. Spokesman para DOC si Major Anton Agon asang ni KUAM na ipreso sa 29 na empleo niya positibo test niya para COVID destidya desgi Enero. Dia sa 28 sa official corrections sa uno sa sibit na empleo. 21 gi 29 ni maninaji sistema na clear sa setba sa mga ma-isolate. Desgi sa 130 na prisionero siya sa mga positibo para virus da todo man ma-isolate gi facility.isolation gi DOC. Diyan des na positibo na mita sa mga bakuna esta sa uno sa sistema dulog ni booster. Iling nga siyagon na 188 na empleo ni DOC sa mga bakuna kabales sa 56 sa sistema madulog ni booster. Siya tihay na empleo po todo sa timan mabakuna kabales. Para Guam News Network, Guauzikin Conception. Yasutuloy finut sa Moro sa presenta sa ninafato ni Familia Mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank.
Say hello to the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app. Want a better look at your spending? With Money Map, you can automatically create budgets and manage where your money is going. Know when you have a green light or when it's time to slow down. Maybe cook more meals at home this week. Set your goals, track your progress, and find your way to exactly where you want to be. With Money Map from the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app. It all starts with yes.
Do you feel like you're missing out on something? Make life more rewarding with Pacific Points. Earn and redeem points for bill rebates and free load at IT&E, discounts on fuel at Shell, vouchers at Foodies, and United Mileage Plus miles. You can even pay with Pacific Points at IT&E, Shell, and Foodies. Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
We want to see your football fan love in time for Valentine's Day and the big game on February 14th. KUAM News and KUAM Digital are rounding up and showcasing football lovers all over the island every day before the big game and giving one lucky fan and their loved ones the chance to win the ultimate game day Valentine's bash at home. All you got to do is send an email to promotions@KUAM.com with the subject Love and Football or tag and send a DM to the KUAM News page on Instagram. Make sure to include your name and contact info and your love and football story. Each and every submission will be entered to win a Game Day Love Fest at their home on Valentine's Day, including a brand new 65-inch 4K TV from Buddy's Home Furnishings, party platters from participating restaurants delivered by Uno Go, beverages and swag from Heineken and Soli, sweet treats, roses for your loved ones, and much more. One lucky winner will be announced on the air on February 11th. Some conditions apply. Winner must be a resident of Guam, must be 21 years or older, and must be available to be featured in a live shot from their home on Game Day, Monday, February 14th.
See KUAM.com for complete rules and regulations. Love and Football is presented by Uno Go and Buddy's Home Furnishings. Let us show you why Buddy's is better. Jamaican Grill, Yaman, together we can. Heaven Sent, the essence of all things beautiful. The Bottle Shack, Heineken and Stoli. Enjoy responsibly. And CS Cafe.
Marianas Irrigation and Landscape Superstore. Stop on by and visit our showroom today. We offer everyday low prices on all major outdoor power equipment like bush cutter, chainsaw, power washer, generators, and more. Need service, repair, maintenance? Well, check out Guam's best superstore only at Marianas Irrigation and Landscape, located in Barragata along Army Drive between Submarina and Besta Market. Call 735-7446 for more information. Now shipping to surrounding islands. Marianas Irrigation and Landscape Superstore.
Pizza Hut's stuffed crust is the crust that made crust good. Topped and stuffed with over a half-pound of cheese. What are you so afraid of? Loving it? Original stuffed crust, only from Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Mayo, from the place that I call home, but she's calling my name. Yeah, she's calling my name. Mayo.
6:54. Good morning. Thursday, February 3rd. Welcome to the
Trying
lake.
to get to this fame.
Morning, Serena.
Morning.
Good morning, Jay.
Good morning. We do want to mention that for all of you concerned about the after-school clinics today, remember, Tuesday it was held at Orden Talampago. We had Mayor Jesse Gogui on yesterday. He was talking about events in his villages. Marshal Sablan hosted yesterday's after-school clinic. And today, from 3 in the afternoon until 6, right across the street from us, over at Liguan Elementary School. Good morning, Seahawks! Good morning, guys! They're going to host the vaccination clinic after school from 3 to 6. All Guamanians 5 years old and up that are eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. If you want the Johnson & Johnson, if you want the Moderna, if you want the Pfizer, you are good to go. You do have to be accompanied by a parent or legal guardian, though, and please do have your ID. So thanks, guys, for getting the young ones vaccinated because they need it too.
Thank you very much, Jay. We did have a daily question about vaccination of those under 5 that we'll read off some of the comments there coming up in a little bit. Right now, though, Mayor Luis Rivera of Tatuha joins us in the Link KUM News Zoom room. Good morning, Mayor.
Day, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's just get right into it. So we're kind of just going down the line, getting the different mayors on to talk about the village upgrades that we're going to see with the infusion of the ARP funding. So I guess we'll just start there. What's in store for Tamuning Tumon Harmon, Mayor?
Oh, well, as you can see, a lot of road work needs to be done all over the streets here in Tamuning. We have our secondary, tertiary roads also that are in need of major repair. So, even with like the number of residents that live in the area, there's many people that traverse through our streets. And so those are all, all in the planning. And we're really happy that funds are made available now, more to help us get these projects completed.
Yeah, we know that there's a $17 million total, but that you guys are supposed to get $8 million off the bat. But I think Mayor Alligan said this week that Bria, I want to say he said they got $1 million. And then so when we were talking with a couple of the mayors yesterday, they said that they're getting $40,000 initially, right? So how about you?
Well, so how that went with that, the 40-some thousand, that's, it was split across the board. That was the option that won. Majority rules.
So everybody at each village got the same amount of money?
Yes. During that vote, we were given the options to vote, and, the final tally was 12-11. So, it's going to be split like that across the board.
You don't sound too happy about it.
Well, I voted for the other option, because of the fact that, population-wise and our, we're bigger villages, we service a whole lot more. And so, we voted that way. It's just that, again, during the vote, majority won. So that's why we have to deal with what we got. But it's a lot more than what we were given in the past. And, so this is to help us. And either way, we're all one island community. And so, with our colleagues, we've been very blessed to be able to help one another, help each other out. So, we're okay with that.
Was this vote yesterday during the meeting or before?
The vote?
Yeah, you mentioned.
The vote took place during our last meeting. Not the one just yesterday.
But Mayor, there's like 16 million more, right? That you guys are going to get in one way or another.
Right. I know that there's still more funding that's going to be coming our way to help us with the different projects. All the things that need to be repaired, restored, and done. So, we look forward to that. And goes, to all areas that are needed.
Have you guys gotten any money though out of that 1 million? Did you get your 40,000?
I was told yesterday that it would be in our accounts real soon. So we're excited about that. And then also of course with the recycling, our purchase orders have come out. So there's a lot of work that it will continue. I mean, we're already doing the work, but having these things that are finally in place, the purchase orders are out, so a lot the people will see a lot of things moving, a lot of cleanup being done.
Mayor, when you talk about village road repair, I did see just going home in some of the villages that some of the mayor's staff are going around with just the patchwork and filling in the potholes. Is that the type of repair you're talking about, or are you talking about like big project?
Well, previously, that's really all we could do is the simple patching of potholes and grounds maintenance, grass cutting, stuff like that to clear the roads. But there's a lot of roads and streets that are that have a lot of Great Depression where we need the bigger and heavy equipment. And so a lot of times we're calling on to the Department of Public Works to come out and assist us, with the grading and smoothing out of the roads, that are, they're way bigger than potholes. But like with the little stuff, the little potholes, we do the best we can to fill it. It's a lot of times it's a matter of getting the supplies, the cold mix, or asphalt to fill it.
Mayor, we had Mayor Gogui on yesterday and Mayor Al Ngata of Manila. We're talking about crime, right? And I know that you've had a couple village meetings recently relative to the Neighborhood Watch program. Is there any update on the results of those meetings? Because I know that there were some takeaways, right?
Yes, the meetings have been very successful. We had the leadership out here from the Guam Police Department, and many residents who had their concerns, they got addressed. And so, we are, we're always happy to dialogue with the different agencies and, different issues with Guam Police Department, the response time, and any tips and advice they can give us to, make it a safer community. Just to let us be aware of, how they can respond or, how long it's going to take or whatever it is, we need to do. So we're just very happy to have these town meetings with them.
We had a resident call up, Bree, remember that yesterday? A lady called up and she said that it's so bad that when they do witness a crime or something, sometimes they don't call GPD because they're not going to show up, or by the time they show up, it's going to be too late.
I've heard those type of concerns, and again, we try to to talk to them to let them know that just to reach out to, even myself, if you're not getting through to the Guam Police Department, they're also able to call me. I give out my cell number, I'm on the neighborhood watch, so they have direct contact to me if they're having any issues. So, we do what we can to get a hold of all the necessary personnel to make sure that these things are being addressed.
I wanted to go back to the village repairs to the roads. Did you guys have to submit a list for that? For which roads? Because I thought there was already a list and there was already this plan like years ago for island-wide village street repairs. And it just kind of boggles my mind why, we're going to use these ARP money to fix village roads when, like I said, years ago there was already a plan to fix village roads.
You're absolutely right. We had to submit in a list. My list has been submitted and it's not all completed. But I know that I've been working very well with the Department of Public Works. They've come out to rate, roads until such time we can get the actual repaving done. We'll continue to, to submit our list. I mean, because, sometimes with the change in leadership, there was different directors it went through and then different personnel. People were retiring, people were going on medical leave, so we have to constantly, continue to follow up.
Sounds like a hassle, Mayor.
I mean, was it the same list? Probably, right? That was submitted more than a decade ago, probably.
A lot of times too, streets do get repaired and then depression comes right back. And, so these are things that we just need to continue to monitor and follow up on.
Yeah, I was just looking at audit here. Well, this is an old one. This is an audit from December 2017, and it's an audit of DPW. Bree, you got this one?
Yeah, from 2009 to 2017. The Village Streets Management Strategy.
Yeah, and apparently there wasn't really a strategy. Unsystematic pavement management system for village streets. This is some of the audit findings. No follow through with the village street management strategy. So yeah, the strategy was that there was basically no strategy.
Yeah, that's why I'm just saying it's just would seem to me as a mayor, because you've been a mayor a while, that you've been talking about repairing village streets, submitted lists, years ago, and here we are.
Is it maybe because Blue and Josh, their first term, maybe they're not really familiar with the process, so...
We're just hoping that things get a lot better and, get done this time around. It's a new year. So we're hoping this is the year that all the magic happens.
Oh, because it's election year. That's what you mean. Going to be a whole lot of hocus pocus. A little bit of abracadabra. Then maybe we'll see a wand or two.
Well, you got to get your money first, so.
Yeah, get your money first, Mayor. Get your money first. I like you. You're being classy. You're not saying too much because they got that money and you need that money, so you don't want to be like, yeah, Chris, it's messed up. Yeah, Bree, you're totally right all the way. You're being very guarded. I like that.
Did you ask about that, Delmar?
Yeah, can we ask about so there's a second public hearing coming up, right, Mayor?
Yes, the Municipal Planning Council is required to host 2 public hearings. So this will be our second one. It's scheduled for Tuesday, February 8th at 6:00 p.m. We're doing it in face at the Tumaning Community Senior Center. Again, we ask that, those who need special accommodations to please call the mayor's office. They can call me personally. And then also, we ask that, if you're feeling sick or, there's any issues, that you're having, Please, you're welcome to submit your written testimony, or you can even just call me and talk to me about the issues that you're having in regards to the project, so that I can convey it to the Municipal Planning Council as well. And, we're also going to be doing a live stream on our Facebook page, Too Many Mayor's Office Facebook page. This is, again, a public hearing where, people that need us to hear what their concerns are, this is the time to bring it to us. And, also the final decision is made at the Guam Land Use Commission meeting. And it will be a hybrid commission, meeting. Anything, I believe, over 3 million is supposed to go hybrid, where the mayor of the village needs to be present together with the neighboring mayors of the neighboring village. The members of the commission, and then the mayors, they consist of the hybrid. And that's where the final vote will be made.
Did you get a lot of testimony in the first public hearing, Mayor?
We got a few. There were many people. I think it was well attended. But people were getting their points across. What their concerns were, and we're listening. We're here to listen, and to also we have to fulfill our requirement of the Municipal Planning Council presenting a resolution to the Guam Land Use Commission, whether we are in favor of the project or not approving it.
And again, if you could just let our listeners, viewers know exactly what this Vista Del Mar project is regarding the hotel.
Yes. Okay. So there's a tentative. It's I'm sorry. There's an application that was submitted by Vista Del Mar, and it is being represented by Mr. Dan Swavely. And so, Mr. Swavely will be doing the presentation on this. And one is for a zone variant for height, because they want to construct a 26-story building structure. And then the tentative planning is for a water park and multifamily and single family development. So, I know a lot of people are concerned about the environment, and things like that. So, any concerns that anyone has, please forward it to us. You don't have to wait for the day of the public hearing. If you can submit in your written testimony, that's fine. We'll accept it anytime before then. But on the day of the public hearing, that's also to give people the opportunity to come in and speak on behalf of it.
Where exactly is this proposed development? In Tamuning or Tumon? Or?
It would be, it's below Two Lovers Point, that area there. It's still in our jurisdiction, the Harmon Cliff Line. It's also known as Harmon Cliff Line, the Two Lovers Point area.
So what they did is they did this study, Bree, I want to say like 10, 15, maybe 20 years ago, and it was all about developing tourism outside of Tumon. And so they surveyed this whole area. It's kind of like Harmon Cliff Line past Two Lovers Point, but on the beach side.
Like Retidian?
Not Retidian, before that. What's that area
Gun
called
Beach?
Again? Yeah, past Gun Beach. Past Two Lovers Point, like in between Two Lovers Point and where you're thinking about.
Okay.
Yeah, so they did a whole study there because at the time, I guess it was like, do we want to do tourism outside of Tumon? And so basically this project, they dusted off those old plans and like, hey, we got these plans here, but obviously people have concerns about it. It's a huge development. I mean, think about it. It's a 26-story hotel, a water park, and then also like a housing development.
Right.
Oh, wow. Do you have like the drawings or anything? Or-
We got
we
We
do
got 'em?
have
Okay.
the plans here, for people to come and review it if they'd like. We do have it available here at the Tumuli Mayor's office.
I mean, it would significantly change like the skyline if you think about it. 26 stories, because there's that whole cliff line that we're so used to seeing, which is just cliff line. Thank you, Mayor. Though, so that's February 8th, right?
Yes, next week, Tuesday,
Got it.
6:00 p.m.
Anything in closing?
Okay, and right now we have maintenance work being done on Epal Road. Right now, it started since 6:00 this morning. So just to make the motorists be aware, we apologize for the inconvenience, but maintenance needs to be done there. So it's going to be closed for a few hours. Hopefully, it'll be opened up real soon. So as soon as the work is done, they'll open it. Okay, but so everyone just stay safe, and even with our office, we have window service going on. If there's any need for anything, you may call or email us, and we just ask everybody to stay safe and be careful out there.
You too, Mayor. You be
Thanks,
careful,
Mayor.
okay?
Stay healthy.
Stay healthy. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck with your money. Get it, girl. 7:15.
Hope
Mayor
you get
Louise.
it
Yep, real sweetheart.
soon.
Soonish.
Yeah, also, the Guam guy, Farron Tyron.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, join us right now. Okay, Farron, you were actually putting some messages in the chat you wanted to send directly to the mayor, but just go ahead and say them now, since you were trying to thank her.
You mentioned earlier in the chat that you give out your own phone number, your cell phone number, and I can personally vouch for that because I messaged you on WhatsApp when my friends and I cleaned a cliff at Oka and just last weekend. So you let us use your dumpsters, and we really appreciate it. So I don't have to bring it home and throw it in my own dumpster or to the transfer station or whatever. So I just wanted to say hi and introduce myself and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all that you're doing out there in our community. We really appreciate you.
Right on. There you go. Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, Farron Tyron, guys.
Appreciate you too.
If you follow the show, we've been bringing him on the show. He's got a great Instagram at the Guam Guy, and I don't know. I kind of call it like adventure eco-environmentalism because he does crazy cool videos like rappelling down the cliff in Jonestown to do cleanups. I know he was one of the first on the scene at Marble Cave. And so, I'm kind of thinking about this, right? The oil spill. And kind of thinking about this, Jay. We thought it would be a really good fit to give him a podcast and put him on the KUAM Podcast Network.
Absolutely. So, Farron, of course, is with us now. And Farron, we kind of when I was writing the caption for your podcast yesterday, and again, just based on the videos that you've done and your Instagram, at the Guam Guy, and what you've been able to enlighten us with, with your work in video, with your environmentalism, with your community service. With your adventurous spirit and everything like that, you're actually using this and bringing other people onto your new podcast and everything like that, and talking about their passions as well.
Indeed, I'm still kind of in disbelief about it all. So I on Instagram, right, and social media, I call myself the Guam Guy because I like to just say I'm just a dude. I've told you multiple times on the show, I'm just a guy that likes to do stuff, and I still hold to that. And the amount of videos that I've been making, and more importantly, being shared on your own platform here, and as many times as I've appeared on this show, I'm still kind of in disbelief about it. And then the last time was at the end of December. And then a couple days later, or shortly after my last time on the show, Chris just calls me out of the blue, and he's all like, "Hey, you want to do a podcast?" And I'm like, "Okay." I didn't quite understand what that meant, but it's an incredible gift you guys have given me to have a podcast, and I entered it with very little confidence. I'll tell you that. I'm like, I don't know if I can do that because I make videos that are a minute long. I can be pretty confident in my ability to fill up a minute.
Well, and it's interesting because your very first podcast is 65 minutes of awesomeness. I mean, I gave it a look yesterday and everything. It is really, really good. So set this up for us and everything, because you have two people who have made a name for themselves as well, being environmentally aware and conscious of, protecting nature and everything. You've got Brandon Eidlet from the National Weather Service, and also Christine Farron from the Department of Agriculture. So, what's the context of your conversation with them?
So the first episode of the show is on wildfire. And this was a very contemporary and still is issue because it's the start of dry season, and forestry, they call it the start of dry fire season. So this is fire season as well, because that's when they at forestry and agriculture actively respond to and fight fire. And I was hiking a couple weekends ago, the Southern Mountain Ridge from Humizong Banglo down to Mount Schroeder or Fina Cresta, so Yamatic to Molesso. And there were 4 wildfires happening at the same time as we were hiking that ridge. 4 at once.
Wow.
I had one in Agate or Santa Rita, one in Arahan, and 2 in Molesso. And 2 of those fires in Molesso had the potential to become, dangerous to us. There was about 30 hikers on the trail, and including a couple of 11-year-old kids. And 2 of those fires were upwind of our path to get out of the jungle to return to safety. And so it turned in, we think, growing up, born and raised here, we don't usually give wildfire too much thought. We don't understand, or maybe we don't think, or I certainly didn't. Maybe I'm speaking for more than myself here. But growing up, I just assumed they were natural because that's what we learned in school. Smokey the Bear. We have a lot of Western created educational content and materials that we don't quite learn about our own, or at least back in my day, class of 2005. We don't learn about Guam specific or island specific things in our school. So we don't understand that 100% of fires here are man-made. And so we really go hard into the topic of wildfire. Myself, Chief Christine Verheeren from Guam Forestry, and Brandon Eidlet from the National Weather Service.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and play this. We'll go ahead and play this clip, Farron.
Okay.
Again, it's from the Guam Guy episode 1, and you can see that he's obviously very excited. He's always doing something new and crazy, and
so he literally, for this podcast, lets his hair down.
Yeah,
literally.
There we go again. It's the new content on the KUAM Podcast Network. Good morning.
All right, half a day. I am Farron Tyron, sometimes known as the Guam Guy. Welcome to the first episode of the show, which as of this recording still doesn't have a name. One will certainly be up by the time it's posted, though. I am joined with Christine Verheeren from Guam Forestry, Department of Agriculture. She's the chief of Guam Forestry, yes?
Yes, division chief. Yep.
Amazing. And Brandon Eidlet?
You got it. Eidlet. Yes.
Okay, I won the bet there. From the National Weather Service. So we're here to talk about wildfire. So a super fun, happy talk for our very first episode and launch of this show. We'll try to keep it a little light, but it is a bit of a more serious topic, so we will be behaving appropriately. I guess we'll just start off with with where this all began. I was hiking last Saturday. There's maybe 30 people out on the Southern Mountain Ridge, including some 11-year-old children, and I saw some fire off in the distance. I saw some smoke off in the distance, and we were all concerned that it was going to cut us off, and it was going to be a danger to us personally, either the fire itself or inhaling the smoke. And so some of the group was way ahead of us, and they had decided to divert to somewhere they thought they'd be more safely. I just chose to go on through and was constantly assessing the fire the whole way. So I'm going to play a clip now and see if I can get our experts to react. This was the largest fire that we saw that day, and there was 4 wildfires around while we were hiking. This was the biggest one. So I'll go ahead and cue this up.
This is a dead brown tree snake that literally burned to death. A few months ago, I was here at the Asgada tree planting site, restoration area, planting trees right over there, and now it's burned. So probably a couple thousand or so seedlings that were planted by maybe a couple hundred volunteers are burned. This was 100% avoidable and unnecessary. Every fire on Guam is man-made, so all the years of forestry's work and the efforts of hundreds of volunteers went up in smoke. All because someone wasn't careful or intentionally started the fire. Fortunately, most of the older trees will survive, but I have no idea how many or few of the trees planted last year will make it. I counted 4 wildfires while hiking and maybe 40 people on the trail, and some of them were kids. So protect yourselves and your children out there this fire season.
All right. So I've been doing this short series on wildfire on my Instagram, and I've been making this constant claim that 100% of wildfires are man-made. They're all caused by people. So I was wondering if I could get fact-checked on that. Maybe that you might have some slightly different opinions, and that's okay. Maybe we could go with you first, Brandon.
Yeah. Well, out here in Guam, there's not much other natural reason for wildfires. In the continental United States, you can get what we call dry lightning. So that is thunderstorms that have very high cloud bases, several thousand feet up above the ground. And so while they produce rainfall, that rain has fully evaporated by the time it has actually reached the ground. But you can still get lightning, and those very dry conditions, that lightning will spark new fires. And that's very problematic. Out here in the tropics, we don't see dry lightning. If there's any type of a thunderstorm, we're going to be seeing heavy rainfall right there near the lightning area. So this time of year in the dry season, we don't normally see thunderstorms. And so the only way that we see these fires start is through intentional acts of people setting a fire, discarding cigarette butts, burning trash. Perhaps you could have power lines that could be making contact, sparking. I don't know. But ultimately, it all kind of goes back to a human-caused, at least ignition for fires. Mm-hmm. And Christine can probably vouch for a few more thoughts on that.
That's definitely the case. I mean, they're human-caused ignitions. And so when we talk about fires, it is important to just keep repeating that. These are human starts, whether they're intentional sets out in the mountains and in our wild areas like you see in the video, or they're escaped backyard fires. You know, we have a lot of family members and friends that we all know who like to go outside and clear their yard, clean it up. Maybe some that decide to burn trash, which, you know, you need permits for any kind of backyard burning, but it is also illegal to be burning your trash. So that's a good reminder for the community. So when you are hiking and you do see fire, take note, pay attention to what's around, who's around you, what's going on, because those fires are human caused. So it's just a great point to keep highlighting. Yeah.
Okay, so there you have it from at least 2 experts in this field. Wildfire is 100% man-made on Guam. So that's terribly sad, really unfortunate. I have a comment here on one of the postings I made on Facebook from Amber Bungato. I hope I'm saying that okay. And I quote, "You notice some places are exact same locations every few months, but most are smokers flicking out cigarettes. I see it all the time on Cross Island Road."
Let me tackle that. So we do have our wildfire investigations, and I know quite a bit of the community heard about it. We advertised it, and it was covered great by the news. In 2020, we had our first wildland fire investigation training in a couple of decades. So all fire partners came to the table. We all participated in this. And through our trainings, it was definitely emphasized that the majority of these fires are these intentional sets or escaped backyard fires. Cigarette starting fires is a much lower risk. It's disgusting. Let's be very clear about this. You're littering, okay? So let's just highlight that too. But the risk of fire from cigarettes, there is a risk. There is definitely a risk, but it's the actions. It's these intentional actions that we have to be very careful of, right? So Cross Island Road, the fires that we have investigated in the past, they were intentional sets. There's usually indicators that show us that a cigarette started a fire. In the 4 that we did check, we did not find cigarette butts or evidence of a cigarette-caused fire. Not to say it can't happen, okay? But it's not as frequent as we think. So there are people that are really just doing this because they have no regard for the natural resources or the people that live in the area or the resources that we rely on. And we need to hold people accountable.
She's been doing that kind of work for a long
Yeah,
time.
Bria and I, we've actually gone out in the field with her. Remember we went to Cross Island Road?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
No, thank you for doing that as your first one, because it really is important for people to understand what happens when there is a grass fire, wildfire, and especially if it's intentional, and the impact, like Jason was saying, to the ecosystem. Because when there's a grass fire and you see what UOG is trying to do with reforesting and planting the trees to act as that kind of natural filter, because the erosion from that going into like the Ugum water treatment plant, where we get a majority of our water, or into the ocean. So thanks.
Also, Brandon's voice was very, very much appreciated on that too, because not only is he with the NWS, so they work hand in hand with the Department of Ag, obviously with winds and whatnot, but he and his brother Landon, who comes on the show all the time, they're also really responsible outdoorsmen, Farron, much like yourself.
Farron, you know what I love about this is I love how you just approach these subjects with this kind of like wide-eyed curiosity. You know what I mean? So I feel like we're on this journey of discovery along with you, and we're just really humbled and grateful to have you on the KUAM Podcast Network. Thank you, my friend.
I'm more humble and grateful. Thank you.
Jay, where can they get this first episode? When's it debut?
So we have given you guys like a special treat. It's actually episode 1 is going to debut in video format on our Facebook timeline and also on YouTube at 11 o'clock today. You can watch it live on either platform. Comment with Farron, with Christine, with Brandon, engage back and forth on anything they're talking about. Really good conversation. But if you want to get a sneak peek, because it's about 7:30 right now, if you want to listen to it while you're on your drive to work, if you're getting ready to do some errands, go to school, you can actually hit up Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or Spotify. And it's on there right now. Just search for The Guam Guy.
Congratulations.
Yeah, really,
Farron.
really cool.
Great
really
job.
Yeah, right on, my man. Hey. Appreciate it, my friend. Be
okay,
safe.
and no pressure, but you really hit the ground running, and you knocked it out of the park with one. We're looking forward to episode 2, so no pressure.
Oh, I'm already super excited.
Right on. There's no shortage of subjects, Farron, and again, we're really proud to have you on the network. Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
There you go. Farron Tyre and the Guam Guy podcast, debuting today on the KUAM Podcast Network, where you can find just a whole bunch of great content, including another one of our newer podcasts, Ileknya Si Polly, with Polly Eric Forbes. It's
That
a great
one is doing amazing.
I love it. It's good stuff.
The origins of the word chod. I mean, you could have grown up with that word. You could have just heard it in casual conversation, have no idea what it is. And I'm sure the 3 distinguished members of our legislature join us right now. They've heard that term tossed around a few times and everything like that. But Polly Eric really goes into detail about how he feels about it, what the origins are, and how it's used in our island community. But people love that episode.
7:31. We do have just a few Republicans in the KUAM News and Link Zoom room. We got Minority Leader Senator Chris Duenas, Senator Telo Taitigui, Senator Frank Blas Jr. going in on the proposed budget. Right after a quick break here on the Link. Again, it's Thursday, February 3rd. Good morning.
Papa Day Guam, our community partner APL invites the public to a donation drive to benefit Harvest House right here at home. Join us on Saturday, February 5th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Costules in Tamuning, where we will be accepting donations. Your contribution would go a long way to supporting our community and those who have come to rely on Harvest House. Any and all donations are welcome. Thank you, Guam. APL, Better Ways.
Taco Bell is so good and so cheap.
I know, right? I wonder why.
What if they know we're broke? What if they're trying to be the good guys?
Yeah. Thanks, Taco Bell!
We want to see your football fan love in time for Valentine's Day and the big game on February 14th. KUAM News and KUAM Digital are rounding up and showcasing football lovers all over the island every day before the big game and giving one lucky fan and their loved ones the chance to win the ultimate Game Day Valentine's Bash at home. All you got to do is send an email to promotions@KUAM.com with the subject Love and Football, or tag and send a DM to the KUAM News page on Instagram. Make sure to include your name and contact info and your Love and Football story. Each and every submission will will be entered to win a Game Day Love Fest at their home on Valentine's Day, including a brand new 65-inch 4K TV from Buddy's Home Furnishings, party platters from participating restaurants delivered by Uno Go, beverages and swag from Heineken and Soli, sweet treats, roses for your loved ones, and much more. One lucky winner will be announced on the air on February 11th. Some conditions apply. Winner must be a resident of Guam, must be 21 years or older, and must be available to be featured in a live shot from their home on Game Day, Monday, February 14th.
See KUAM.com for complete rules and regulations. Love and Football is presented by Uno Go and Buddy's Home Furnishings. Let us show you why Buddy's is better. Jamaican Grill, Yaman, together we can. Heaven Sent, the essence of all things beautiful. The Bottle Shack, Heineken and Stoli, enjoy responsibly. And CS Cafe. Join Nestor Lacanto for virtual in-depth discussions with the movers and shakers in our community every Wednesday on In Full Zoom. Presented by IT&D and Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Hey, 7:35 on the link. Pacific Points, Cabo Enterprises, IT&E, and Jack in the Box. Good morning, Sabrina.
Off day.
Morning, Jake.
Good morning.
Good morning, Guam. Let's go ahead into the KUAM News Link Zoom room where we have the minority leader, again, Senator Chris Duenas, joined by his minority colleagues, Senator Telo Taitagui and Senator Frank Blas Jr. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Chris.
Sabrina.
Morning.
Hi. See you, Sabrina.
I guess we'll just get right into it then. We'll start with Senator Duenas. I know that the budget proposal was submitted by the Office of the Governor. I want to say it was like just a couple days ago, right?
January 31st.
Right.
I believe that's the deadline.
And it's quite a voluminous, I'd always wanted to say that word out loud, a voluminous document, very Bible-esque. But Senator Duenas, your initial takeaways, I guess, and we'll just go down the line after that.
Sure. My initial takeaway is if this budget were up for a vote today, it would be an absolute no. I find it curious. I guess I find the narrative more curious maybe than the numbers. I was really kind of intrigued that the governor basically said, don't consider the ARP funds, as something to basically incorporate into the budget. Which is basically a 180 from the first 5 or so agencies in last year's fiscal year budget that came before us. They started telling us in terms of what their ARP funds were going to go for in terms of levelizing or even replacing some of their budgets. And then I think the front office, kind of figured out that was a bad idea. And then everybody just shut down after that in terms of talking about ARP and what their requests or what the governor was setting aside for them. So that kind of was, kind of floored me to begin with. The other thing is, Chris and Bree, we talked about this last week, and as we've been talking about the budget going forward, I think that 5%, it's very clear now every fiscal year that what's tracking is the, $50 to $60 million in, projections, and we saw 64 million in 2021. We're seeing tracking right now 50 million in fiscal year 2022 where we are.
So, she tells us, don't touch that 5%. But it's very clear now, even with no PUA or FPUC and the like, to still be, bold and kind of forthright that will track all the way through this year, even with basically zero tourism. It's really got to bear out now that it is that 5% on the backs of the businesses and those who are paying those taxes through higher costs. That is what really is the fuel, as opposed in with as well other reimbursements to the government of Guam, EITC, ACTC, and things like that. So there's going to be a lot of long discussion. I'm glad that it starts in January because that's the way it should be. But I can tell you, we'll see what my colleagues have to say, and I'm glad to see you this morning, Senator Tello, Senator Frank. But this budget, I don't think will look like this in August.
Go ahead, Senator Tello.
Good morning, and again, it's good to see you, Sabrina. Thanks. Welcome back. Well, I think Senator Duenas, is correct about it won't pass right now, but no budget that's provided to us from the governor would pass right now at this point. And it is a little bit too early to comment on it, especially when we haven't had the SES meeting with the financial team to come in front of us to give us an economic outlook. What we can do is just be, very frugal at this point, look at the numbers and see that certain areas that need adjusting right now and to justify it. I mean, it's a lot of tedious work. I mean, this is the job of senators. That's why we've been put into place to do this most important thing of the year, and that is the budget. But one thing I'm happy to see in the budget is the fact that she did incorporate the 2% rainy day fund, where last year she suspended it in her budget. But this year there's no suspension. We're looking at trying to save some funding. And we have to be very, very conscious about all the bills that are out there right now that's ready to spend money. I think it's time we hold off on any more spending at this point and start really looking at the areas that are lacking. We need to look at the reserves that she had put in place for FY21. In September, a report came out putting money aside. Why are you putting these reserves aside as we appropriate these agencies? I think we were very frugal when we did that. And for her to set these reserves aside, it just weakens the agencies. We looked at a latest report that came out recently on reserves, setting reserves aside for agencies for December 31st. Actually, the report said FY21, but it's technically, they made a mistake. It's FY22. They're starting to put these reserves aside. It doesn't help us when they do that as well. So I'm looking forward to the SES meetings coming up. Hopefully that'll be there. Again, I think Senator Duenas talked about the 62 million the CRER report for the end of fiscal year 21. And right now we're looking at 35 million for the December CRER report for 2022, which estimated at 50 million by the end of the year. But then you're looking at $10 million war claims, $35 million for the hospital, $5 million for DOC, a $19 million shortfall for special funds in FY21. You're looking at this $16 million public safety raises that are anticipated. We still have a deficit of 1.5, and you put all these things together, you're coming out with a negative at this point. So we have to be very cautious. And one thing I'm really concerned about is the matching for Medicaid. Last year we had it at 81.1, to 10.9 matching. And now if we don't have that Build Back Better bill come through that we're all anticipating, I think it's kind of watered down. You're looking now at 55-45 match. And we need to come up with that money, especially in this area. So there's a lot of bills on our plate, to look at, and we have to still maintain being frugal and ensure that public safety, healthcare, and education is at the forefront. I had a discussion with DOE last night, and I want to thank Frank Cooper Nurse, who took the time even after 5 o'clock to give me some numbers on their numbers. They're wanting $268 million. And some of that, I believe, what did he say? 5,657,000 is just on special funds, and the remaining at 262 going from general fund money. That's a $84 million increase from last year's budget. So there's a lot to look at. It's really early in the game, very early in the game.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Senator Blas.
Well, first off, good morning, Chris, Jace, Bree. My condolences again, but welcome home. I share the same sentiments as my two colleagues. I find this proposal as, first off, intriguing, and I don't share the same optimism that the administration shares with regards to the figures and what we intend to, or what we project to be projections in all categories, whether it be general funds, special funds, or federal matching. One of the key things that we can continually and constantly, or the administration constantly misses, is the viability, the economic viability of the community. It's the community that is able to generate this revenue that the government needs to be able to operate. And for the government to continue, the administration to continue, that the government can operate the way it continues to operate on the backs of the community and not providing the community the support and the assistance that they need to overcome what they've had to go through over the last 2 to 3 years, which was imposed by the government. This was not something that was naturally made, such as a typhoon or earthquake. This was government ordered, and they continue to have in place these government orders that could continue to severely restrict business activity. You restrict business activity. Businesses don't have the ability to gain revenue, to earn revenue, so that they in turn can pay, whether it's 5% or 3% GRT. 5% of zero is the same as 3% of zero. If a business isn't open, no matter, you can raise the GRT to the BT 10%. It's not going to pay it. And if that's what you're going to continue to rely on, so that the government can continue to operate as it does, that's very ambitious and almost, you're putting that right back on the backs of the people. That's not right. So I'm going to continue to look at this feverishly. Like you said, Chris, it's a pretty huge document, and I'm sure there are a lot of nuances that are contained in this document that purports to be what they want as a budget. Just that, again, looking at the summary page, okay, how are you going to get this money? It's easy to say that with this money, we're going to do this. Well, first off, the question has got to be, how are we going to get the money? And that's a question that's going to have to be asked and answered over the next few months for the next fiscal year, because I'm not even sure that we're going to get to what we project our figures to be for this fiscal year. There's a reliance on several federal stimulus packages or aid packages that are in the pipe in the Beltway that may not materialize. And if it doesn't materialize, what's it going to do for us? I think that we're putting too much reliance on the passage of many of those packages just so that we can survive. Again, it's for who to survive? Is it for the government to survive, or is it for the community to survive? And I'm going to continue to side on the side of the community.
Senator, we'll go back around. Senator Duenas, I know you guys saw the governor's testimony before the Senate yesterday, but it was quite a wish list in her testimony, right? She was some of the things she was asking for, stimulus package.
Yeah, but specifically for the U.S. territories, a seat at the table for treaty negotiations for compact impact. Yeah, there was.
Yeah, there was
quite a few.
basically
H2B, there was a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of asks, Senator Duenas. So can we just get a response to just some of the governor's testimony before the Senate committee?
Sure. Just real quickly, I think my colleagues really summed up some other parts of the budget real quick. Senator Frank Blas has advocated for at least accountability to the mandates. I think we just call for the mandates to completely go away right now. The business community is crying out. This vax on vax dividing our people is becoming ridiculous. I think he's absolutely right. I mean, we're calculating on funds coming in when we're basically not working close enough with the business community. Senator Tello, put in that amendment for the report. We still haven't seen the January report in terms of expenditures of ARP. One of the things I think that was very clear, it's about what we don't know, right? I've been told by fiscal people that even the CARES Act money and there's still bank accounts because that can be spent out to 4 years that we're not seeing right now, and a lot of the smoothing of this budget, right? So that's why I say it's an absolute no right now, because it's more about what we don't know than what's been put before us. But going to the governor's request nationally, I don't know how my colleagues feel, but I think point for point, with the exception of the hospital, and the recognition is kind of interesting. She's sitting before Joe Manchin, who is who with one of his colleagues on the Democrat side are really the impediment to Build Back Better. I think for good reasons. They're talking about a skinny bill nationally to try to get something passed under this administration. But if you really look at the rest of the laundry list, it's kind of a rehash of what governors, I would say at least the past 3 governors and administrations have put forward. Compact impact, that's been a perennial issue. You look at some of the other requests, it really kind of is really a rehash of things that have been being asked from administration to administration. Any governor, right? Our governor, when we go before the Congress, that's the time to trot it out. I can't fault that, but I other than the hospital, I didn't hear anything new. I personally kind of think that there's more that we can do and could have done on the issue of the hospital, other than relying on Build Back Better and other than sequestering. Senator Frank has really worked on saying, really, is this 300 or now 220 million? Is that the best use of our money, given the fact that we've identified a funding source for the hospital? I think there's been a missed opportunity to continue to leverage this buildup for a hospital. So I don't know that we count on Build Back Better. I think that we need to be a lot more aggressive and leverage our position better. And I think there's been missed opportunities. So, like I said, it's other than the hospital, I didn't see anything new. That was kind of a rehash of requests.
Have you heard anything about, the Missile Defense Agency? We heard from Joint Region Marianas basically confirming that the agency was here because they're conducting their missile defense review across the country, right? And they're eyeing Eagles Field, where she wants to build her hospital. Do we have any other alternatives? I mean, or have you guys heard? I know that there was Atacao, I think, was another location that she was looking at, but ultimately it was Eagles Field. That's where I want it. That's where it's going to be. I already signed some paperwork.
I mean, I think there was the one opportunity to go back to the old hospital. That's the one right in Mooning above the Hilton, and found that this would probably be an area that already has its infrastructure and would cost less than going to an area that is undeveloped. When I heard the interview of the Admiral on your show, I was really taken back about now the tables have turned. I mean, what she's told us is concentrating on building 3 public facilities in one area. I mean, going big. I mean, that's great, going big. But the reality is the funding there, and it's not. The reality is that we do need a new hospital. That's for sure. But if there's an opportunity to go to a place that was actually, in the first place, an area for public health that was donated by a family to utilize that area, then that's a great possibility. As far as cost is concerned too, because of the infrastructure already being there. So I think, we can still have this hospital, but in this location might be more feasible. I don't know of any other Chamorro Land Trust properties that there was one in Chalampago they looked at for this area, but because of the, I guess the hillside and the, all the land being so uneven, it would cost more to develop that than anything else. But he talks about I didn't hear the whole interview or the comments that the governor made in Congress when she was there. But I think one of the things that she's lacking is putting funding, which we know is still in the bank. I don't know why she's holding on to it. As Senator Chris said, I mean, there's a lot of funding out there that needs to come out to the public.
How much is left, Bree?
It's about 400
Yeah,
million.
so about 400 million is what we're tracking, senators.
Based on that last report they submitted, right, to the legislature.
Which isn't the one that's...
The expenditure.
So there's one that's due now?
Yeah, the end of every month. I think January is due.
I follow along on the federal side to see exactly how much money has been given to the government of Guam. And then, of course, they have to account for all this funding and spending with the feds by giving the report. They don't give it to the legislature, but I know they have to give it to the federal government, on their expenditures. But I think one of the things she's lacking here is programs and training programs for our community. We need to now start building a different type of economic, growth on this island, and that means retraining our people of Guam for other, areas like healthcare, pushing more money into those areas. Tourism, we saw what happened during the pandemic, and if we think that this pandemic is not going to ever happen again, a pandemic like this is not going to happen, then this is the reality check that we all need, and it's time to put a plan together that actually helps to rebuild and retrain our people in different fields of technology, healthcare, education. Is there a plan for that? No, we talk about growing our island, losing our brain thinking tank to the U.S. People are leaving off island. Look at the population now. It's starting to go from 170 down to 162. It's going lower because people are leaving Guam. They're not happy. I can tell you one thing. A lot of people are not happy with this administration. Look at administrations that have been in government, right? And then you look at how many has left island because they're just so disgusted that nothing is happening, that all they're worried about is just filling their own pockets or self-serving interest. And people are tired about that. We're losing so many people. Our good teachers are leaving island too as well.
Senator Blas, your thoughts on just the governor's testimony and everything that's so much going on?
I agree with Senator Chris. There were a lot of the points on her speech were pretty much generic. When you talk about compact impact and you talk about relations and whatnot, did I expect her to have that, that same tone or the request? Sure. You're at that national stage. You're in front of a body that is part of the group that will make those decisions. And so this is the opportunity, for our governor as well as the governors of other territories to want to make their case. Unfortunately, I know the rules of Senate hearings and whatnot. Being a part of that, once before, you're really quite limited in what you can present and what you can provide, because they do limit you. There's this clock right in front of you that tells you how much time you got. And so you're really racing, for lack of a better term, racing against the clock and trying to make your case. And so then you've got to take what is basically your top seven. With the governor, most of it was pretty much generic. But then again, her push for Build Back Better. Could there have been other things that we could have been presented? Maybe. But at the point in time, I'm sure that her people have said, Governor, this is what we'd like for you to focus on. Giving her that advice, and she went with it. So that remains to be seen. That said, is I think that even if we request for additional federal aid in the form of Build Back Better and like Senator Duane said, the skinny version of it. It's how is that money going to affect and going to help the community? I think we have to focus on that, and again, rebuild an economy. Senator Tello, brought up, an interesting thing. I think that I believe that one of the things that we gotta look at is diversifying the economy that we have, and there is that funding that's sitting in accounts that were provided to us for those same purposes to get us out of this doldrum that we're in, and that could be utilized so that you do have that funding to help businesses diversify or create diversification within their businesses, so that we can contribute to the economy, and hence then be able to pay whether it be 3% or 5%, you'll be able to pay it. But again, like I go back to, whether it's 3%, 5%, or 10%, if business brings in zero, it's zero. I think so.
Senators, could you hold real quick, and we'll jump over the top of the hour. Hope you guys got your jumping shoes on. The Breeze, we're KUAM-FM and Agotnia, Guam. A big surprise. Senator Frank Blas not as optimistic as the administration with their budget proposal, and we'll continue with our minority senators in the Guam legislature next on The Breeze. We're KUAM-FM, Agotnia, Guam. KUAM TV, fix yourself. Here we come. Good morning. Good morning, Guam. Good morning. It is 8:01, Thursday, February 3rd. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Sabrina.
Good morning.
We're in with the minority senators here of the 36th Guam legislature. And we were, Bree was about to ask a question. Bree, good morning.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I was reading this right with this budget submission by the executive branch. So is this correct that what we're looking at right now is we're tracking $35 million over the adopted revenue projection for the current fiscal year, and for next fiscal year we're looking at $50 million more in general fund revenue?
No, it's 35 million what we're tracking right now. Over the estimated revenue right now, but it's estimated that by the end of this fiscal year, FY22, they're projecting it would be a excess of $50 million at the end of FY22. Right now, FY21, which we just finished that fiscal year, has given us a 62 million unaudited, by the way, excess revenue for FY21. So, and that in the budget bill that we had for FY22, we tried to put some, lock boxes in those areas to send 20 million of that to tax refunds, to cover tax refunds. 70 million of that, 70% of that excess revenue is to go into tax refunds as well. And then 20% of that, or 30% of that, is to go into a reserve, a rainy day reserve. that's what the FY22 budget had put out there. But yeah,
So what's the revenue projection for FY 2023?
Revenue projection, well, according to the governor, I'm looking, and maybe my colleagues can add to that too, but I'm looking at an increase about $990 million for her budget. So that's 990 million coming in.
You're saying it wrong. You got to say like 990 million.
It's almost $1 billion, you guys.
Is that over what our current fiscal year budget?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the analysis there is basically 50 million.
So it is 50 million. More.
You know, in excess to, you know, there's considerations. I broke it down a little bit. There are considerations across, you know, public safety, healthcare, and of course, you know, education. I think you know, the discussion on education is going to be the big one. You know, as my colleagues have mentioned, you know, you've got that public safety by executive order. I mean, that's there. That's going to have
talking
to be
about the raises, right?
There's a big push, of course, you know, by the Board of Education to move right into teacher pay, and so really you know, what's looming is really a lot of things that aren't even factored, right? Even though you look at potential increases. So I really believe, you know, if there's anything we do for the balance of this year, and I'm calling on the chairman to really convene the SES, you know, post haste, and to, you know, if we have to continue to update on a monthly basis, because once again, you know, I'm really, you know, we're basically looking at the first quarter to anticipate these projections. I'm really surprised that they put this $50 million increase in this budget with so much uncertainty about what the next, you know, several quarters are going to bring. And that's why I said straight off, you know, there's no way I could even think about anticipating this type of budget, you know, at least to see one more quarter, which we've just started basically. So yeah, you know, and I want to be clear. I want to, you know, Senator Tello was part of the 35th. You know, Senator Frank and I came into this 36th. I'm also a little disturbed that, you know, the governor right now seems to be taking most, if not all, of the credit for these, you know, these surpluses. But the fact is, it's the legislature of the 35th and the 36th right now that has had that conservative budget. We passed one of the reasons why they're tracking right now the $50 million surplus. It wasn't just a few months ago. You know, my colleagues and I were fighting on the floor for this. It's one of the reasons why I voted for the budget was they wanted 50 more million in BPT. And if that was the case, right now we'd actually be tracking a $14 million deficit, because we're only realizing 35 million, which is still good. Don't get me wrong. That's still a good tracking to be ahead of, but they wanted 50 million, and it's the 35th and the 36th so far that is fundamentally responsible for this fiscal, for the constraints and for the fact that we're realizing surplus.
You know, one of the other things I just wanted to bring up is tax refunds in this particular bill that the governor has brought forward to us. I mean, she's only put aside $90 million. You know, I was talking to the Office of OPA, former Speaker BJ Cruz, and she goes, I just don't understand how the legislature in all my years only set aside like $120 million for tax refunds, when the reality was we paid out 165. So now when I was looking at this, I saw only $90 million set aside for tax refunds. This is an issue too.
How concerned are you guys that when you guys actually have the budget oversight hearings, we're going to kind of see what we saw last year where, oh, I can't tell you about ARP. No, I am not allowed to talk about that, you know. Because this seemed like a major headache, even just watching, like.
Yeah.
Well,
do you guys need Advil or anything?
I remember when I brought that up, it was public health, in fact. And it was Arts and Augustine, and we were in the public hearing on the budget. And I actually brought up, well, do you have a plan on how much money you're going to get from COVID funding, CARES Act money? And he goes, oh, well, we are planning to get this amount. I said, and then everyone was just surprised because they're giving us, you know, their laundry list or what they're anticipating to get, which helps us in the budget. Because knowing they're going to get funding from there, we can put that money somewhere else, like education, you know. And so, it was very ironic. And the next thing you know, they were all given a gag order not to spill the beans on what they're getting from the administration as far as any, you know, grant and aid. And now we have ARPA funding, so they're probably not going to tell us what they're going to get. But
now that I think about it, there is that breakdown that you guys are getting on the allocation and expenditures. So
right. And like it says, if you look at the report they put out, it says that it's not finalized, it's still in draft form, it's not itemized. The biggest issue is not itemized. They're putting money, earmarking certain agencies, ARP funding, $3 million, and that's it. No explanation. Is that salaries? Is that, you know, and that's the kind of information we need going forward to put a budget together.
Well, what is clear, I think, is this 5% BPT.
Yeah, they need that for all the above step recruitments, guys. Sorry, business community. Senator Blas, you look like you really want to say something. Are you going to announce?
Yeah, he's holding back. Like,
don't hold back. Of all the years, just let it all out.
I am trying not to go off right now.
At my colleagues, you know, provide. Yeah, well, I'm just, the volcano is still smoldering. Yeah, I appreciate the conversation and listening to the take of my colleagues. You know, with regard to you know, right now how the administration reports that you know, they've received, their projections are in excess, or what they've gotten is in excess of the projections they've received. We've got to remember where this money had come from. Okay, how did we get to you know, $35 to $50 million over projections? But where did that money come from? When you got an economy where basically 60 to 70% of its organic economic engine has been sputtered, where did that money come from? And there's no sign right now of that same industry, that same economy coming back to life pre-2019 or pre-COVID for another 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, she said
so
3 years
how do we
yesterday.
anticipate, or how do we continue to say that? How do we continue to say that we're going to exceed the expectations that we've had, or the projections that we've had for revenue? Is there a reliance on some monies that we don't know about that the federal government is just going to provide to us freely? And there's a caveat to that. Nothing in life is free. Is there going to be an extra buildup, you know, money that now they're going to be able to open up positions, you know, food and beverage and hotel room, you know, the cleaning service positions that many of the you know, the 5,000 to 6,000 people who are still unemployed can now jump in and get, you know, and receive a paycheck. We're forgetting about a lot of that. The administration continues to forget about, you know, those drivers, about those parts to this economy, to this community that make up our economy. Our economy is not made up by federal stimulus or by the monies that we got. Nor do I feel that the administration, as Senator Duane said, continue to hold money in their purses because they can stretch it out over the next 2 to 3 years. You know, there's a gaping wound now that's in the community that we need to be able to take care of. There's a community that we need to get back up on its feet. Yet the government and this administration continues to think that the way this is going to be is we got to provide government with, you know, with all of its resources. What about the businesses? What about the families? there are still people that are that are looking, for some help to be able to feed their families. Okay? This is almost 3 going into 3 years on this pandemic. What about them? And I'm going to continue to hold that line and ask those questions. Okay? And help not just those businesses trying to get back on its feet, but the families to try to regain their dignity.
But let me ask you, Senator Blas,
despite all of this,
what would be your response though if they were to say, Hafa, I gave you LEAP, I got the ERA, I got the HAF, I gave you All Rise. What would be your response?
Why do we have to beg for it? One of the things that I want to go back to is I remember early on in this pandemic. All right, obviously we Senator Duane and I weren't in the legislature yet, but early on in this pandemic, if I remember correctly, they shut things down like on March 15, March 20th, and then there was this need, and I thank KUM because you guys stepped up to the plate big time on this thing too. There was this need in the community, for food. Thousands of families had no means to be able to get food. Okay, and it took the community efforts to get that started.
Yeah.
Okay, almost 3 months into that pandemic, it took the community saying, "Look, government, if you're not going to do anything, get out of the way. We're going to do it."
Right.
And then the government comes, "Oh no, now we're going to take over this." Okay, and put out videos of and here let's go out and now feed the community. Well, they were waiting for 3 months. The business community, you want to talk about LEAP? Okay, that LEAP process, and Senator Duane will tell you, that started in our office.
In Frank's office.
Okay, and it's
Frank brought us together.
Okay, that started in our office. And so it was like, can we do something for them? And then they took it on as, okay, guys, this is our project. Again, I don't want to, it's not to look to gain the credit and anything, but if we didn't move on a lot of that stuff, would there have been leak?
That's right.
I wonder if we didn't complain about the Rise Act that last year. Same deal, right?
Yeah. Okay. So it's they had all this money, they received all of this federal stimulus, and according to them, we have no businesses looking into how they're spending it nor telling them how to spend it, but yet we've got community members coming into our offices, meeting us daily at Happy Mart, saying, "Senator, how can the government help us in this?" And at this stage of the game, that's not conversation that we should be having. But we continue to have. So to say that now we're progressing and moving forward, who is? The government? Because the community is still hurting.
Frank is spot on. I mean, if you really look at it, I mean, even you, Chris and Bree and Jason and everything else. I mean, I was looking forward when I first came in as a senator to watching your show so I could hear from at least the lieutenant governor, once in a while the governor, agencies, everything else. I mean, it has been the media, it has been the legislature for all the criticism. And hey, look, this is, that's part of what we do, right? But even if you go back into the 35th, I mean, let's go back to checkpoints. Let's go back to everything that the legislature has had to push back against to make things happen. And that's one of the reasons why I think the three of us, you can see, I mean, we look at this budget and go, no, this is going to be a process, because everything that has happened has been driven by the media and by the legislature. When you say, what about this? I gave this, I gave this, I gave this. First of all, it's the people's money. The federal government gave it. You guys aired a commercial last night that I thought was pretty interesting. Sponsored by the Congressman's office, Just Pirates Cove. Thank you for the federal money.
I heard that.
Let's just be real, right? I mean, it has been the prodding. It has been the prodding of a lot of senators and yourselves and the community who has forced the hand. And even when it comes, it's like, well, I'll give you $50 million now, and $25 million of that has to come from the legislature. Senator Tello was right. I mean, if you line out all the commitments that have been made going forward, and by the way, I think I found the reason why there's a $90 million tax refund request. We talked about this last week, you guys. There is no way, unless there's just a dump truck that backs up and dumps down some pen sand and some people put some shovels and hats on to celebrate something that's not going to happen. There's no groundbreaking for the hospital in this year. And so the fact is that there's that $35 million that we set aside for financing for that. I guarantee you that the anticipated revenue between that 90 and the normal 125 request is the 35 million that's not going to be required as debt service, because there will be no financing on the market for a hospital. We're not even close to that. And especially with the issue of Manguilao, and especially with probably some stubbornness and not wanting to go to Oka Point, which is probably the right place to put it. So there's that money, 90 plus 35, 125. That's the typical, request for tax refunds. So, Bree, great question. And the bottom line is you're absolutely right. None of us is going to stand here and say these programs haven't rolled out. But I tell you what, as I sit here with my 2 colleagues and the other 4 colleagues we have on our side of the aisle and others on the other side as well, I will tell you that has come, because of the fact that for us, it's been like a trip to the dentist every time we try to work with the front office.
Yeah, and you know what's another thing is I'm just so tired of hearing how the governor's gone out saying, "Oh, I'm working with the senators." I don't know which senator, but none of us have been called in, and I think there's only 2 or 3 of them that she's been working for. And how can we move any programs through, or how can we come together and not spend all our time trying to figure out what kind of shenanigans that she's doing in any kind of budget or program. We spend too much energy on trying to dissect this, that, she's playing smoke and mirrors, instead of really, really coming together and sitting on the table and discussing this budget. The sky has stopped raining funding. Now's the time to really sit and talk, not just to 1 or 2 senators and say, okay, I got this in the bag. Let's really sit down. And if the governor is listening, yes, bring everyone to the table. If you're announcing how you're talking with the senators or working with the legislature, and she says that in Congress too, which is ironic because she doesn't. So I'm willing to come to the table, to sit down and talk, Governor, if you want to really sincerely work together.
Thank you, Senator Tello. Senator Duenas, thank you so much. Senator Blas, thank you guys. Really appreciate your time this morning.
Right on. We appreciate you too. Have a great day.
There you go.
Create a great day, everyone.
All right.
Okay, Senator Blas, are you going to announce before we let
Thank
you go?
you.
Or are you good?
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Right
Okay.
Okay. That's the right on. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
It's going to be interesting.
Who is that? Which one of them said that? Oh, there's not going to be a hospital groundbreaking this year. Senator Duenas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Never say never with this administration. But yeah, it's a big one. Big.
It is $50 million more.
Yeah. Man, Oka Point.
I wonder. Yeah, are they going to have the teacher raises in there?
Yeah, but when we talked to the board yesterday, they seemed to say that, okay, we got to do the study, and maybe they're looking at September forward, right? But I know that...
I think that there's a mandate that they have to have it done by September.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, if it's passed and approved, then they would be able to get the pay raises in 2020.
2023. Yep. But I know that Lou and Josh would love to get that done this year in the election year. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Too bad we won't be able to find out on this show. But
yeah. Oh well. Relative to the new location of the hospital, I mean that's what a lot of people are saying. Oka Point, right? Because of the infrastructure and.
I wonder if they spoke with the doctors that were, GMA, the Guam Medical Association, or the Guam Medical Society, now that they're kind of together, to get their input on where they would like to see this new hospital.
I don't recall that, Bree. I just recall them coming out and saying, hey, we want to put it at Eagles Field. Probably because I was thinking if the governor didn't want, like, the foster home facility in her neighborhood, then she probably doesn't want a new hospital with all the traffic and the craziness that's it's going to bring to her neck of the jungle. But yeah, you're right. They kind of came out and they just said, we're going to put it at Eagles Field. And everyone
Well, they
was
said
kinda-
they had options. Remember when Lillian Posadas was...
But they always led with Eagles Field, right?
Yeah. But they... I want to say Attica was one of the other proposed sites.
Yeah, and then where else?
Mingy, or
yeah, well,
some
Eagles Field.
CLTC property
Yeah.
or something? Yeah.
Yep, so it is what it is, guys. It is what it is. It's 8:23, quick break, and we're coming back with our 8 o'clock newscast next right here on the link. Good morning.
Confidate Guam, our community partner APL, invites the public to a donation drive to benefit Harvest House right here at home. Join us on Saturday, February 5th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Costules in Tamuning, where we will be accepting donations. Your contribution would go a long way to supporting our community and those who have come to rely on Harvest House. Any and all donations are welcome. Thank you, Guam. APL, Better Ways.
We want to see your football fan love in time for Valentine's Day and the big game on February 14th. KUAM News and KUAM Digital are rounding up and showcasing football lovers all over the island every day before the big game and giving one lucky fan and their loved ones the chance to win the ultimate game day Valentine's bash at home. All you got to do is send an email to promotions@KUAM.com with the subject Love and Football, or tag and send a DM to the KUAM News page on Instagram. Make sure to include your name and contact info and your Love and Football story. Each and every submission will be entered to win a Game Day Love Fest at their home on Valentine's Day, including a brand new 65-inch 4K TV from Buddy's Home Furnishings, party platters from participating restaurants delivered by Uno Go, beverages and swag from Heineken and Soli, sweet treats, roses for your loved ones, and much more. One lucky winner will be announced on the air on February 11th. Some conditions apply. Winner must be a resident of Guam, must be 21 years or older, and must be available to be featured in a live shot from their home on Game Day, Monday, February 14th.
See KUAM.com for complete rules and regulations. Love and Football is presented by Uno Go and Buddy's Home Furnishings. Let us show you why Buddy's is better. Jamaican Grill, Yaman, together we can. Heaven Sent, the essence of all things beautiful. The Bottle Shack, Heineken and Stoli, enjoy responsibly. And CS Cafe.
Do you feel like you're missing out on something? Make life more rewarding with Pacific Points. Earn and redeem points for bill rebates and free load at IT&E, discounts on fuel at Shell, vouchers at Foodies, and United Mileage Plus miles. You can even pay with Pacific Points at IT&E, Shell, and Foodies. Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Pizza Hut stuffed crust is the crust that made crust good. Topped and stuffed with over a half pound of cheese. What are you so afraid of? Loving it? Original stuffed crust, only from Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape Superstore. Stop on by and visit our showroom today. We offer everyday low prices on all major outdoor power equipment like bush cutter, chainsaw, power washer, generators, and more. Need service, repair, maintenance? Well, check out Guam's best superstore only at Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape, located in Barragata along Army Drive between Submarina and Besta Market. Call 735-7446 for more information. Now shipping to surrounding islands. Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape Superstore.
Join Nestor Lacanto for virtual in-depth discussions with the movers and shakers in our community every Wednesday on In Full Zoom. Presented by IT&D and Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Say hello to the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app. Got a question about your finances? You've come to the right place. Bring all your accounts together, even those that aren't with us, and see the big picture, right down to the smallest detail. Unlock powerful tools like Insights and Money Map that help you save time and take control of your finances. When you connect accounts with the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, it all starts with yes.
Good morning and welcome back to the Link KUAM TV. Good morning on you. We're brought to you by Pacific Points, Cabo Enterprises, ITD, and Jack in the Box on this Thursday, February 3rd. Let's go ahead and get into our 8 o'clock newscast, which is brought to you by Pacific Points.
This
and the
news
very
update
latest
is
from
brought
the
to you by
KUAM News
Pacific
team.
Points. Do
Good
more,
morning,
get
Sabrina
more.
Salas-Mantonani.
Good day, everybody. 2 more deaths related to COVID-19 were reported last night by the Joint Information Center. The death of a 73-year-old woman on January 31st occurred at GRMC, marking the 295th COVID-19 related fatality. According to the JIC, she had underlying health conditions and was unvaccinated. The island's 296th was a 69-year-old man. He was brought to GMH yesterday and was dead on arrival. He also had underlying health conditions, unvaccinated. The JIC reports 770 new COVID cases out of 2,145 tests analyzed. Of the new cases, 80 were reported through the Department of Defense. There were also 47 people hospitalized with the virus last night, 24 of whom are at GMH, 21 at GRMC, 2 at Naval Hospital. There are 5 people currently receiving ICU level of care and 1 on a ventilator. To date, there have been a total of 33,788 officially reported cases, 296 deaths, 6,090 cases in isolation, and more than 27,000 recoveries. As of February 1st, a total of 133,136 of Guam's eligible population have been fully vaccinated. The Guam Department of Education reported 13 new COVID-19 cases among employees and students on Wednesday. 12 were confirmed student cases and 1 an employee. To date, there have been a total of 775 GDOE students and faculty members reported positive for COVID since January 3rd of this year. Of that number, 654 were students and 121 were staff. The CNMI reports 252 new cases of COVID out of 1,037 tests conducted on February 1st. Of those cases, 180 were identified through contact tracing, 66 were found in community testing, and 6 via travel testing. 1 was identified on Tinian, 16 on Rota. There are now 9 hospitalizations. Of those in the hospital, 5 unvaccinated, 3 vaccinated, 1 partially vaccinated. The CNMI has a vaccination rate of 99.4%. The case count since March 2020 is now at 5,314. During their weekly briefing on Wednesday, Public Health released the findings of a joint investigation with the CDC into last year's COVID-19 related fatalities. The investigation also assessed common characteristics associated with the transmission, severity, and surge of dead on arrival cases. This despite the island's high vaccination rate. Daniel Perez reports.
In 2021, there were a total of 145 COVID-19 related fatalities. A majority, or 127, occurred during the island's third surge of COVID-19, which occurred between July 8th and December 31st, 2021. Of that number, 49 were dead on arrival. The investigation found that a majority of all the COVID-19 related deaths in 2021 skewed toward males and the island's elderly populations. CDC epidemiologist Dr. Scott Laney.
Our key takeaway findings is that 80% of the DOAs were unvaccinated. In addition, 63% were over 60 years of age and 63% male. So the unvaccinated issue is very, very important with regards to the DOAs. Health and other disparities were observed among the DOAs as well, including diabetes, chronic renal disease, and cardiovascular disease rates that were elevated compared to the prevalence in the population.
Other findings of the investigation determined that nearly all the DOAs were associated with a Delta surge. Over 1/4 had an education level less than the 12th grade. 67% of COVID-related fatalities in 2021 had a combined household income of less than $35,000 a year. 22% had a household income of less than $10,000, and almost 24% did not have health insurance. While the study has been completed, the CDC and Public Health continue investigating current trends. In the past 2 days alone, there have been 8 dead on arrivals to local hospitals. Territorial epidemiologist Dr. Ann Pabutsky.
Most of them have occurred in the past 3 weeks. There's been 21 deaths in January 2022, of which 13, or 2/3 almost, were dead on arrivals. So we are seeing this surge during what we believe is Omicron, and we're seeing something similar where we're seeing elderly people.
Of the DOAs this year, 9 were fully vaccinated, 4 of whom were boosted. Lead epidemiologist for State Epidemiological Outcomes Work Group, Dr. Annette David, urges residents to stay vigilant against the virus.
We want folks to seek care early to avoid hospitalization. So if you have symptoms and you're at high risk, get tested. If you test positive, make sure you speak to a physician to see if you qualify for the antivirals or the monoclonal antibodies. And the point is to try and do everything that we can early to avoid hospitalization, to protect you before you even need to be at the hospital.
Daniel Perez reporting for Guam's News Network.
The Department of Corrections has seen its fair share of COVID cases during Omicron. DOC spokesperson Major Anton Uggan tells KUAM the prison has had 29 employees pop positive for the virus since the 10th of January. Of those 29, 28 were corrections officers and one was a civilian staffer. 21 of the 29 cases have already been cleared and the rest remain in isolation. 10 of the prison's 630 prisoners are positive and all are isolating at DOC's isolation facility. Of the 10 positive, half are vaccinated and one of the vaccinated received a booster. The major also shared that 188 DOC employees are fully vaccinated, with 56 in receipt of their booster shot. 7 are not fully vaccinated. Was Austin Dodge a consumer of child pornography or an advertiser? More importantly, what's the difference between the two? That question was clarified in the District Court of Guam. Tyler Matanani reports.
23-year-old Austin Dodge appeared via Zoom from Florida with his father by his side. He's one of the youngest defendants to be sentenced before Chief Judge Francis Tydenko Gaywood and the first to be charged with advertisement of child pornography. He pleaded guilty in November of 2021 after he was busted for sharing a link to a file that contained approximately 18 videos of underage girls engaging in sexual activity. That file was shared amongst 41 other people in the online chat room known as LiveMe. The court continued his sentencing to this month because it needed further clarification on what it meant to be a consumer of child pornography versus an advertiser. Today, it was made clear that Dodge's offense was more severe because instead of just viewing the illegal content, he created a link and shared it. The prosecution was seeking a 7-year sentence. Ultimately, he was sentenced a little over 5 years since it was his first offense and has no prior record. He addressed the court. Quote, "When I first started dabbling into this, I never thought of what I was doing. I didn't realize at the time the extent of what I was actually doing." He expressed that he felt disgusted and miserable after just 2 months of engaging in the illegal activity. Quote, "Even to this day, I still feel bad and miserable and resentful to what I did." He continued, quote, "I'm sorry to any of the girls that were in those videos. I didn't think at the time I was doing them any harm, but now I see how it is doing them harm. I really wish that this would have never happened, both for me, for them, for everyone." He will be on 10-year supervised release after serving his sentence, must register as a sex offender, and pay a $100 special assessment fee. Dodge was stationed at Naval Base Guam at the time of the incident. He will serve time at a federal prison in Florida. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Tyler Matanani.
29-year-old JJ Tumangug is facing child abuse and other charges after allegedly assaulting a woman and her children, some of which were caught on camera. According to a magistrate's complaint, the woman reported to officers on January 31st that Tumangug had been assaulting her for 6 years. She alleged that Tumangug had punched her 9-year-old child on one occasion and recently slapped and punched her in the face. On January 30th, he allegedly beat a 3-year-old child with a wooden spoon, then slapped him in the face. That incident was caught on surveillance, where police observed Tumangug also kicking the child twice, at least once in the head. He was charged with child abuse as a third-degree felony, family violence as a third-degree felony, 3 counts of child abuse as a misdemeanor, and 5 counts of family violence as a misdemeanor. 36-year-old Teresa Douglas was arrested and charged with 2 counts each of child abuse and family violence, all as misdemeanors. According to a magistrate's complaint, a witness reported that on January 31st, he saw Douglas chase and hit 2 children with a hanger. He said while he was dropping Douglas home, she also allegedly dragged the 10-year-old child from the car and began to choke her. Officers noted the child had red marks on her arms and legs. Governor Lulian Guerrero appeared before Congress yesterday, seeking, among many other things, a new round of federal financial assistance, specifically for Guam and other territories. With details, here's Nestor Lecanto.
Governor Leon Guerrero appeared, along with other territorial governors, before the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee, which has oversight of the territories. She mentioned Guam's more than 90% plunge in tourism arrivals and how a full recovery is not expected for another 3 years.
I asked this committee to consider passing an additional relief package specifically for territories to address previous federal aid disparities and our prolonged hardship due to reliance on international tourism.
The governor actually led off her remarks, seeking more funding for her proposed new hospital complex.
Last year, the House passed the Build Back Better Act, which included $347 million to construct a new hospital as recommended by the Army Corps.
Ironically, Oversight Chairman Senator Joe Manchin is largely blamed by his fellow Democrats for scuttling President Biden's BBB proposal in the Senate. Meanwhile, Leon Guerrero also asked for help with critical skilled foreign labor needs.
I ask you to extend the exemption to 2029 and establish a Guam-only temporary need criteria within the H-2B program that would recognize other qualified need as determined by the governor of Guam.
And the governor also sought compact impact reimbursement, or at least an offset of the $150 million GovGuam estimates it spends each year on COFA migrants.
I just want to make it very clear that we love our brothers and sisters from the islands and we want to help as much as we can. But we would like to have the financial means and the funding source to continue on with that help.
Today marked the first Senate oversight hearing on the state of the territories since 2019. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
At the same hearing, CNMI Secretary of Finance David Atalig was peppered with questions by U.S. senators about China's influence in the Pacific, dodging questions about investment in the gaming industry. Tomas Manglotnia reports.
The Northern Mariana Islands singled out by U.S. senators on China's reach in the Pacific.
As we talk about the influence and the presence of China in the Indo-Pacific area of responsibility, I think that they very much had a presence in CNMI. Correct, Mr. Secretary? Mr. Secretary?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Their presence were in terms of bringing tourists in.
Yes, so they had quite a presence, and I think they were bringing gaming into CNMI.
NMI Secretary of Finance David Atalig testifying on behalf of Governor Ralph Torres, who recently tested positive for COVID before the Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources at the nation's capital. Senators peppered him with questions about China's tension in the region.
Are you concerned about China's moves in the Pacific with regards to your neighbors, where China might try and build military installations or expand illegal fishing? And what would that mean to the economy and your nations and your security?
Atalig seemed to be caught by surprise.
But to the question of the economic dominance that they're trying to do in other neighboring islands, I don't have a straight answer from our position. We do know that other islands are benefiting, financially in terms of economic input into their economy, but we're under the U.S. flag, so we seek to this body for our assistance, and we continue to build on our partnerships. So I will bring back this question to our leadership and make sure we have a thorough answer and response for the committee.
What Atalig failed to mention is the influence of Hong Kong-based Imperial Pacific International's Best Sunshine Casino on Saipan, which secured an exclusive casino license in 2014, with big promises, including over 2,000 guest rooms, 17,000 square meters of gaming floor, and a $100 million themed entertainment facility. The total cost then mounted to $3.14 billion. Those are now essentially gutted after facing countless federal lawsuits totaling millions related to inhumane and dangerous working conditions. In one case, the NMI District Court ordered the company to pay 7 Chinese workers over $5 million for dangerous conditions last May.
So go back 2019 and before, because we saw a pretty rapid rise of Chinese nationals construction. I know there were several different challenges with labor laws being violated with the 45-day basically visa process to be able to come from China, that we saw some Chinese companies coming and doing construction, bringing in Chinese nationals, not paying them basic wages there, and then moving back and forth. What do you anticipate happens once we get to the other side of COVID, even so, Lord, come when that day comes? What do you anticipate happens? Do we return right back to that again?
No, thank you for that question. This pandemic gave us an opportunity to revisit a lot of the policies we have as a Commonwealth. And one of the issues is in our tourism sector.
Agilic says the pandemic acted as a reset to revisit policy decisions.
Appreciate that. Obviously, we don't want to hurt tourism. That's a major feature of the economy, and we understand that, want to be able to recover again. But we want to be able to protect the integrity of the workforce, what's actually happening there.
Tomas Manglotnya for KUAM News.
All right, and GEC Executive Director Maria Pangilinan is standing by. She's coming up next. But first, here is our Chamorro News Update with Uncle King.
Buenos updates to get soon to be kunut sa morgan ni KUAM News. Presenta ni Familian Mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank. Manali gini kan naugan ni gobyerno ng teritoryo siya, dyan man maga si White House ni Kongreso o siya ng gobyerno federal na ahensya siya para Interagency Group on Insular Areas nominento ni U.S. Department of the Interior. Imagahaga Lunio Guerrero sa explica 2 na punto. Ilangan na lingwahan federal giya di Digital Equity Act. Sa tiyan na asaw na teritoryo siya sa requesta no amendi adyo na lay. Pagpaformanay loki teritoryo siya profangay beneficio giya di maproposo na salapi no 2.65 billion pesos para broadband expansion na programa. A requesta loki no matulay kay formula para di programa ng Airport Infrastructure Grant. Ilang niya nagitinituhon ni este na programa y 2024 na sakan i-formula ni para mana setbi para madetermina para ma-award sa 2022 na formula ng employment. Kumikling nga dyan ay numerong guahan sa 40 na rinibaha siyempre sa purisentak papaestay bisita di man mafatugin ni Madzod na market tourism. Masasunto, ma-record ni Islata 4 tado mas na finaytay COVID-19 gi imatis. Puto di man matay sa istakahulo gi 294. Imina 291 sa 90 anyos na lahi nung mabakuna lo gaitsad nod otusiya gi Guam Regional Medical City gi dia 21 gi Enero. Positibo test niya para COVID gi adza mismo na dia. Imina 292 na pinaytay. Sa 85 anyos na lahi, nugay sa nudotusiha, lumabakuna esta, gi Guam Memorial na Hospital, gi 31 gi Enero. Masoda na nansin ni COVID, anay mates gi 25 gi Enero, pago na sakan. Palawan no 68 anyos na edad, dati mabakuna sa imina 293 na pinaytay. Desta lokwe gay sa nudotusiha, matagi Guam Memorial na Hospital. Positibo test niya para COVID gadza mismo na dia. Imina 294 na finaytay sa 98 anyos na lahi gi Newa Hospital, gi 31 gi Enero. Positibo test niya para COVID gadza na dia lokwi. Todi 4 na biktima sa mapronunsya naman matay naman matugato gi hospital. Yuto mo na sunto gi pinut sa moro para pagwa na Merkules gi ni KUAM News. The Department of Corrections sa Malilo kipatiniya no inatisan kausang COVID ang nakahuli Omicron na virus. Spokesman para DOC si Major Anton Agon asang ni KUAM na ipreso sa 29 na empleo niya positibo test niya para COVID desidia 10 Enero. Dia sa 28 sa official corrections sa uno sa sibit na empleo. 21 gi 29 ni maninaji sistema na clear sa sedda sa ma-isolate. 10 gi 630 na prisionero siya sa man positibo para virus da todo man ma-isolate gi facilitated isolation gi DOC. Diadzi 10 na positibo na mita sa man mabakuna esta sa uno sa sistema dulog ni booster. Ilang asyagon na 168 na empleo ni DOC sa man mabakuna kabales sa 56 sa sistema madulog ni booster. Siya tihay na empleo po todo sa timan mabakuna kabales. Para Guam News Network, Guauzikin Conception. Yasuto ifinut sa moro sa presenta sa ninafato ni Familia Mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank.
Say hello to the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app. Want a better look at your spending? With MoneyMap, you can automatically create budgets and manage where your money is going. Know when you have a green light or when it's time to slow down. Maybe cook more meals at home this week. Set your goals, track your progress, and find your way to exactly where you want to be. With MoneyMap from the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, it all starts with yes.
We want to see your football fan love in time for Valentine's Day and the big game on February 14th. KUAM News and KUAM Digital are rounding up and showcasing football lovers all over the island every day before the big game and giving one lucky fan and their loved ones the chance to win the ultimate game day Valentine's Bash at home. All you got to do is send an email to promotions@KUAM.com with the subject Love and Football or tag and send a DM to the KUAM News page on Instagram. Make sure to include your name and contact info and your Love and Football story. Each and every submission will will be entered to win a Game Day Love Fest at their home on Valentine's Day, including a brand new 65-inch 4K TV from Buddy's Home Furnishings, party platters from participating restaurants delivered by Uno Go, beverages and swag from Heineken and Stoli, sweet treats, roses for your loved ones, and much more. One lucky winner will be announced on the air on February 11th. Some conditions apply. Winner must be a resident of Guam, must be 21 years or older, and must be available to be featured in a live shot from their home on Game Day, Monday, February 14th.
See KUAM.com for complete rules and regulations. Love and Football is presented by Uno Go and Buddy's Home Furnishings. Let us show you why Buddy's is better. Jamaican Grill, Yaman, together we can. Heaven Sent, the essence of all things beautiful. The Bottle Shack, Heineken and Stoli. Enjoy responsibly. And CS Cafe.
All right, we're back. We're back. 8:48, Thursday, February 3rd. Good morning, Jay.
Good morning.
Can you go over the testing and the stick the needle in your arm?
Certainly. Okay, we'll do testing first, then vaccination, all right? Real quick, testing. If you want to get tested today, again, you need to have an appointment, and what you need to do is go to tinyurl.com/COVID-stops-with-me. The testing site over at Tiedzin is now open. If you didn't make an appointment so far, I know on the Eventbrite page, today's appointments are closed, so you can still make an appointment for Friday or Saturday. If you need to be seen by your regional health clinic, thank you, Joe Sir. Joe Sir's got the number on the screen right now, 631-635-7525 or 7526 for the Dededo Regional Clinic, 828-7504 or 7604, 7605, beg your pardon, for the Inalahan Clinic. If you want to be vaccinated, there are vaccine opportunities, not today at the UOG Calvo Fieldhouse in Mingilao, because of course on Thursdays and Sundays they are closed, but you can still make an appointment again, tinyurl.com/VAXGuam, and you can make an appointment to be vaccinated at either of those clinics, again, for public health, or you can call your private clinic. Also today, the after-school vaccination clinics, if you want to get anybody, any Guamanian 5 years and up, the vaccination shot, it's going to be held right over here in Dededo at Liguan Terrace, or Liguan Elementary School, the home of the CHEX. That's going to happen from 3 to 6 in the afternoon. And of course, Chris, the new testing site is over in Oka, where literally right across the street is our next guest, Maria Pangilinan, the executive director of the Guam Election Commission. Good morning, Maria.
Yeah,
Good to
Miss
see
Maria.
you.
Can we start with how's the traffic over there at the testing site? A lot of people. Can you see?
No, I can't see the lots of traffic, but this morning when we drove in, when I drove in, people were under the tent, being protected by the tent, and so it looked pretty organized.
Okay. Miss Maria, I know you're over in Oka, right? And we're trying to shake the tree and get people registered to vote, but you were telling me before we went on that we're kind of stuck on 49,000 registered voters.
We haven't, we're not at, we think that we'll break 50,000 in March. Registration will pick up, we'll pick up, and according to our voter registration guru, more likely March will break the 50,000.
What else is going on over there?
Well, I've been getting inquiries about nominating petitions, so I know they're being circulated. If you're not registered, get on our website and register if you have a current Guam driver's license or a current Guam ID. Those nominating petitions, make sure you sign only one for governor, and you have to count 15 for senators. If you sign more, then there are offices up for election. Your signature will not be counted. If you're not registered by the time the GEC validates those petitions, your signature will not be counted. So hurry up and register. You can register, one can register here at our office at 241 Fahrenheit Avenue here in Oka. We're in the Oka building next to Mega Drugs. You can also register at gec.guam.gov. You can register online, and you can register at the DMV, when you renew your driver's license or your Guam ID, if you do that online, you can still register to vote. Volunteer voter registrars are available. We've been training them. Their names are on our website. And most of our mayor's offices have registrars as well. So please make sure you bring your ID to wherever you register. Make sure you enter your correct driver's license or Guam ID number on our website.
Ms. Maria, we had a question here on our Facebook live stream on the KUAM News Facebook page. Bev Test J. Solis comments in, Miss Maria, are y'all registering homebound patients? If so, how do we request to be registered to vote?
Probably the most efficient way, you can call us and we can get a volunteer registrar to go to the home. Or we can call the mayor's office for you and see if the registrar from that mayor's office is available to come to your home. We will make arrangements.
Ms. Maria, so there's a couple bills, right, that were passed in the legislature relative to, oh, look at that, the election, right?
Yes. So Bill 173 and Bill 174, in those bills, the primary election date will change from the last Saturday in August to the first Saturday in August. But just bear in mind that if those bills are signed into law by the governor, they will not take effect until the 2024 elections. The effective date of those bills are January 1, 2023. There's most of it were recommended by the GEC. As you know, the GEC is required to turn in recommendations to the legislature to update the election code. So most of them were based on our recommendations, and we're happy that the legislature took them on, and we're happy that they're getting, that hopefully they'll be enacted into law.
Did you already go over the final day to register for candidacy?
Yeah.
When is that?
I was about to ask her that.
Okay, the final date to register is 10 days before the election. So that would be August 17th, all right? But to register online, it'll be 21 days before the election. And to register with volunteer registrars, it'll still be 21 days before the election. On the last day to register, which is August 17th, and 10 days out, maybe August 7th to August 17th, we will have district registrars at the mayor's offices. And the mayor's offices will be open until 8 o'clock for people to come in to register.
Right, that's to register to vote. But for registering, if you want to run for public office.
Oh, shoot, sorry.
No worries.
So the first day to file for candidacy is April 19th. The last day, that's the question you're asking, is June 28th.
Would you judge? I mean, I know we're doing you can do the online packet pickup at gec.guam.gov, but Ms. Maria, you've been through a lot of elections with the time frame here, the second month of the year, looking at how many packets have been signed for. How does it compare to other election years?
You know, with the numbers and with the inquiries, I think it's a little slower. We are fielding calls, but not that many. Chris and Sabrina, we did start the candidate seminars, And so we were happy that 3 candidates and their supporters showed up. So those candidate seminars will shed light on the GEC as to how many are really interested. Our next seminar is February 9th, the Wednesday, February 9th at 5:30, and then Thursday, February 10th at 2 o'clock. These seminars are on our schedule every second Wednesday and Thursday of the month. So we'll, and as you know, you can always check our website at gec.guam.gov to update yourselves with how many people and who have picked up packets.
I also noticed on the website these new voter registrants. Has that always been there? Is that people who've registered to vote?
Yes, Sabrina, by law, I think that was in 2000, I think it was maybe 2008, 17. Always passed that said that GEC is required to publish all the new registrants at the end of every month. So when it comes closer to the election, we will publish maybe every 2 weeks or every week.
Yeah, you guys, on this site, it's like January 20th and January 31st of this year. Well, I mean, it's all the way back to 2015.
Oh, I'm sorry. So it must have been, Sabrina, it must have been the same law, that's Mary Torres's law, that took away the requirement to show your U.S. citizenship, and that all new registrants must be published on our website.
Miss Maria, what kind of stuff is covered in the candidate seminar? Do you guys tell them, like, hey, this is the best spot to put your sign? Like, what do you guys cover?
No, we told them with regard to signs, the question came up. So we told them that signs are now not allowed on public property. And so we go through the packet, and that's like the first half hour of the seminar, first 20 minutes. We go through the packet, we see if they have questions. Most of the time is spent on campaign finance. And so we let them know that their organizational report may be due even before they file their candidacy, because those organizational reports are due within 10 days after they spend or collect $250. So that organizational report might be due even before they file on April 19th.
Wow. Ms. Maria, can you clarify? Let's say that is $250, right? But let's say that, instead of $250, I have a gathering, and one of my supporters gifts me $300 worth of, cut and pica or whatever.
If it's cut and pica, and the supporter that gave you cut and pica is not a caterer, or is not, it's not his or her profession, that does not have to be reported.
Interesting. Okay. So it's $250, and if they are a business and they provide $250 worth of a service to any potential candidate, then that has to be reported?
If it's a corporation, corporations, as far as the Guam law says, are not allowed to donate to campaign other than they are only allowed to buy fundraising tickets. And the fundraising tickets, at every fundraiser, the corporation is limited to $500 worth of tickets per candidate. So candidates need to have 2 fundraisers to take advantage of the opportunity to collect $1,000 from a corporation.
Got it. Bree, anything else?
No, are you guys ready to go? Yeah.
We're getting ready.
You got all the money you need?
Ready. What was that, Sabrina?
You got all the money you need.
Not yet. We sent in our supplemental request a week and a half ago. We sent in our fiscal year 23 budget Monday or Tuesday, I'm sorry. So do we have all the money we need? Not at this point.
So you sent in a supplemental budget request for the current fiscal year?
That's correct, ma'am. Sabrina, when they passed the early voting law, it was after the budget law was passed. So that takes some excuse me, that takes some dollars. So we needed to turn in a supplemental request.
So how much are you short?
Okay, so when we turned in our fiscal year 22 budget, it was short by 200 some thousand, I believe, or 300 some thousand. So our total supplemental request will cover the shortfall from the original request and the early voting. So it's $602,000.
So over $500,000. And you sent it to your oversight chair?
Yes.
Any feedback?
That went straight to our oversight chair. We anticipate hiring 15 temporaries to man early voting center, and we will do our 3 additional employees that work with us throughout the election. So before early voting, we hired 3 election clerks. Since early voting is in place, we hired the 3 election clerks and 15 more for early vote center.
Have you gotten any assurances from your oversight chair that you guys going to get that money?
You know, he's been very supportive and he's helped us throughout the years. Senator Joe San Augustin has been a great supporter of the Guam Election Commission.
Wow. So would you be able, if you didn't get that supplemental money, would you guys be able to hold the election?
Probably not. And we will, if that happens, we will address it. The board will address it. I think I remember back then when we were having problems getting the money, and the board had to push hard.
Was that when you had a different oversight chair?
Chris, I don't remember.
I do. You did.
Possibly because it was some time ago.
Yeah. The congressman used to be your oversight chair.
Yes. I really don't remember, and I don't think it was the congressman.
Ms. Maria, are there any updates on any investigations that were before the board that have been closed out that you can talk about?
None, no updates. No updates at this point.
Thank you. Are you good, Bree?
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah,
hopefully
good luck.
you guys get the money.
Yeah. And we're excited.
Always.
We're excited to see you more this year, Miss Maria.
Yes, always, guys. Sidus Masi. Without you, we won't be where we're at. So our media partners, we know, are very important to the Guam Election Commission.
Yeah. We'll be reaching out soon on coordinating for, the information that needs to get out when people, whether they need to register to vote or head to the polls. So we'll be talking real soon.
Sidus Masi.
Okay,
right.
Thank you, Miss Maria. We're going to take a quick break, 9:06, and we're coming back with the one and only Jason Salas with another all-star interview next right here on The Link. We're brought to you by Pacific Points, Cabo Enterprises, IT&E, and Jack in the Box. Good morning.
We want to see your football fan love in time for Valentine's Day and the big game on February 14th. KUAM News and KUAM Digital are rounding up and showcasing football lovers all over the island every day before the big game and giving one lucky fan and their loved ones the chance to win the ultimate game day Valentine's Bash at home. All you got to do is send an email to promotions@KUAM.com with the subject Love and Football, or tag and send a DM to the KUAM News page on Instagram. Make sure to include your name and contact info and your Love and Football story. Each and every submission will be entered to win a Game Day Love Fest at their home on Valentine's Day, including a brand new 65-inch 4K TV from Buddy's Home Furnishings, party platters from participating restaurants delivered by Uno Go, beverages and swag from Heineken and Soli, sweet treats, roses for your your loved ones, and much more. One lucky winner will be announced on the air on February 11th. Some conditions apply. Winner must be a resident of Guam, must be 21 years or older, and must be available to be featured in a live shot from their home on game day, Monday, February 14th.
See KUAM.com for complete rules and regulations. Love and Football is presented by Uno Go and Buddy's Home Furnishings. Let us show you why Buddy's is better. Jamaican Grill, Yaman, together we can. Heaven Sent, the essence of all things beautiful. The Bottle Shack, Heineken and Stoli. Enjoy responsibly. And CS Cafe.
Taco Bell is so good and so cheap.
I know, right? I wonder why.
What if they know we're broke? What if they're trying to be the good guys?
Thanks, Taco Bell!
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage, with generations of Filipinos calling Guam home. KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by KFC and the Medical City, where patients are partners.
Do you feel like you're missing out on something? Make life more rewarding with Pacific Points. Earn and redeem points for bill rebates and free load at IT&E, discounts on fuel at Shell, vouchers at Foodies, and United Mileage Plus miles. You can even pay with Pacific Points at IT&E, Shell, and Foodies. Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Pizza Hut stuffed crust is the crust that made crust good. Topped and stuffed with over a half pound of cheese. What are you so afraid of? Loving it? Original stuffed crust, only from Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
On Breeze 93.9 FM.
Gabriel and Don, you make sure you get everything looking good around here. Make sure the dog got water, make sure the pig got food, and make sure the chicken got...
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thursday's edition of The Link continues here. It is about 9 minutes after the hour of 9 as we head into the 10 o'clock hour. Good people in our community doing good things to take care of each and every one. And Guam's foster community is certainly very, very valued. It's people that give of their time, of their resources, of their heart, and obviously of their home. And to help this very necessary part of our community, our friends over at APL and Harvest House are putting together a donation drive so that you may help people that take up a calling, I would say. Like it's never a job. It's never just, something you do just to, make yourself look good or, tweet about it and everything like that. If you are a foster family, you are really doing the Lord's work. So thank you, each and every one of you who are foster families. Bethany Taylor is in the KUM News Zoom room, of course, the executive director of Harvest House. Bethany, good to see you. Good morning.
Thank you so much for having me, Jason. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. You're always welcome here on the show. And then from APL, of course, the corporate partner that is making this happen, the event is going to be this Saturday from 8 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon at Cost You Less into Mooning. Our very good friend, Carl Pangilinan, someone who I've known for a very, very long time, since the 7th grade, and I would dare say he has the sweetest swing on the fairway of anybody in the class of 1992. So, Carl, good to see you, brother.
Wow, what an intro. I appreciate it. Good morning. Thank you, Jason.
It's nice to know that the humility between us hasn't changed since middle school, has it?
After all these decades, huh?
Well, one thing that certainly hasn't changed about either of you, I would say, is your genuine love for Guam and wanting to take care of the community. And Bethany, I'd like to start with you, if I may, ladies first, if you don't mind. The foster community on Guam, it's something we brought up on the show so many times during the pandemic. It's we need more of them. What do we do with children who are in foster situations and everything like that? And certainly this donation drive is going to help those families that do make the choice to become foster families.
Very much so. Thank you. Yes, Harvest House is a nonprofit to the foster community on Guam. So we're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, to answer the call to help foster families. We have 50 licensed foster families right now on Guam. The number is rising. We always need more. We have foster children, 500 foster children in the system today, and they literally sit in our waiting room waiting for placement. So we are the emergency triage center for foster children. We're on the front lines. CPS Harvest House is the first one CPS will call to either help facilitate placement for these children, to help collaborate with them, because we do a lot of recruiting for our foster families. But the most important thing we do is we take in these children at their very hardest moment of life, when everything is taken from them, and they sit here in our waiting room and they get a clean shower, they get clean clothes, they get all the essentials they would need. And then we collaborate as a team on the best placement for these kids. So it's just really a beautiful place. We had a little foster child the other day say, I said, "What do you think about Harvest House?" And he said, "It looks like heaven in here." So we want a little place of heaven for these kids versus them sitting at a police station for hours waiting to be, placed, or waiting at a CPS office at a desk. That's not a place for a child. So today we're just really grateful to APL to let us to collaborate, also to spread awareness of the foster needs on Guam, but also just having the community come alongside Harvest House and preparing some things that would benefit our foster children on Guam. Everybody can do something, right? So this is a great place to start.
That's such a beautiful way of saying a child felt like they were in heaven. And I would dare say, Carl, you and your team over at APL, you guys are the avenging angels to help make this mission on Saturday like a reality, to deliver that experience to these young children. These are our Guamanians too. These are our neighbors. These are our family members.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. And what, backtracking a little bit, and, I also want to give props to you fine folks there at KOAM. It was really the Care Force program that we looked at, at APL, just to kind of, what can we do to give back to the community? So we decided to do 3 separate events, 3 separate fundraise or donation drives, and partnered up with our, business partner at Cost You Less. In identifying these organizations, it was really just the actual items that they needed to fulfill their mission. And so back in November, we helped a local veterans group here on Guam, and it was a highly successful donation drive. Just to kind of, lay or give you a sense of what will go on that day on Saturday, you show up to Cost You Less between those hours from 8 to 2. We'll have our team set up. Bethany and I believe Ashley, we'll take turns in covering some shifts. But, you walk in to buy whatever you're going to buy for your household or for whatever it is that you're there at Cost You Less for. Well, we have actual items that are, you can locate within Cost You Less that will go directly to benefit and to assist the mission over at Harvest House.
Okay.
And so we have a list of items. We're going to, so you can either give money and we'll buy the items for you, or just hand it right over to the good folks at Harvest House, or get these items directly, and we'll donate it to you. So if you're buying chicken and a bag of rice, and throw in some toilet paper or something like that Harvest House needs, and you just drop it off at our table, and we accept the donations there.
Now, Bethany, because when somebody is a foster family, and they're giving, these wonderful young Guamanians, these beautiful children, like a place to stay, and like you said, heaven, a place to call their own home, and a family that they can connect with and become a part of. It's not just feeding and clothing them and everything like that. I'm actually looking at the list right now, so it's not only food items. Obviously, that's very key, but also for perhaps the babies and the toddlers, like the toiletries and things like that, but also things for like maybe the home office to help these kids, be successful in school. So things like paper, pens, writing instruments, things like that. So can you kind of give us an idea of the scale of what's needed? Because there may be people that have these things at home and they would just like to contribute as well.
Yeah, very good point. We have posted it on social media on our Facebook page. about the cost of lesson, but we already had one person say, hey, I have some of these items, let me bring them by right now. So I was like, awesome, please do. So but yes, just to talk a little bit about the items we asked for specifically, we have snack items listed, so that would benefit our foster children in those emergency crisis situations that we take in. We obviously want to feed these kids. They come hungry every time. So another thing that we do is we support our 50 licensed foster families on Guam. So throughout the year, we hold events for them. We also do, like, comes Valentine's Day, we're going to do a little gift basket to every licensed foster family on Guam, just to let them know we support you, we care about you, we have a community of people that are coming alongside you just to help ease the load. So to put in some snack items, you know how many, I have 7 kids myself, so believe me, they go through a lot of snacks. So to put in there some snacks for school will be a big help to them. The other thing are baby items. Right now, if you went to our resource center, you would go to the right where we have a shelving unit that's, full of our diapers, our wipes, our bottles, and all the clothing. And you will see on our shelf that size 4, 5, and 6 diapers and pull-ups are practically empty. Some are empty and some have one more pack in them. And it's just that we have, I wish I could tell you how many toddlers we have right now in the foster care system. I don't know, but I would guess about 100.
Oh my gosh.
And they need diapers all the time. So every single month we give diapers to our foster community just to help, again, ease the load of saying yes. So we would love to have those shelves, stocked, so that when foster families, I just yesterday had a foster mom say, hey, do you have any size 5 diapers? And I had I had 2 packs to give her. So I would love to make sure we had those essentials ready for our foster families just to help them. And then the hygiene products are super important. So every emergency crisis that comes to see us at Harvest House, we fill a hygiene bag for them. So they get a backpack. They get, they're not going to go away with it in a garbage bag. We give them dignity at Harvest House. And to get new items is a really big deal. They usually have never experienced anything like it. So they get a fresh new backpack. We fill it up with shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste, toothbrush. So, the normal basic essentials plus new underwear and any other new undergarments that they might need. Then we fill it with clothes and shoes. And then they're just like super excited. They put this backpack on their back and they're like, they already realize they have new beginnings ahead of them.
If I may add to that, Bethany, there was a similar charitable event that went on late last year that sought to gather new and used shoes for young children and everything. And they said, something as simple as footwear, does so much for a young person as far as, building their confidence, letting them know that, hey, like I'm part of a community, this is, even though it's, just something you slap on your feet. And, Carla even says here, socks and sandals, you give a kid a fresh pair of Zoris and everything like that. They really feel like they're part of the community, and this is going to let them be successful.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, most of our foster children have been going to school, and they're the ones that get reported to CPS. So they're the ones that every week a teacher has reported again to CPS, hey, the kids came with barely anything on, or the same clothes for a week they've been wearing, or they smell so horrid, they just have not ever had a shower for a long time. It's like report after report after report of just having no dignity, having a lack of self-esteem in the classroom, being made fun of, just having nobody feel like nobody's coming. I'm the kid here. Nobody in my family has actually cared for the basic necessities of my life. So we try to really, from this point on, their very first step into Harvest House, from that point on, it's a point of healing and a point of just taking care of them and just letting them feel like there are new hopes, new beginnings for me.
Absolutely. And Carl, I would say, and first of all, thank you for saying is how our company and yours have collaborated on these events and everything. It was the easiest negotiation that we ever did, because we just called you up and we're like, hey, we want to work on something, and you're like, all right, let's do it. So it was as simple as that. And I think this is emblematic of APL's concern for the community, and how it's not just a couple people from the marketing team, but like everybody there is in it to win it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we didn't have to put much thought into who we wanted to assist. There's so many worthy organizations out there, and you know, we really wish that we can help them all. But when we had to narrow it down, you know, with this particular program, with the Care Force, and you know, I was forced to choose three. You know, we chose the veterans organization, we chose the foster families and the foster kids, and then next month, at some point, we're going to help the elderly. And so,
I love it.
You know,
right on.
Yeah, and just, you know, just listening to Bethany and Ashley, you know, my daughters go to school at Harvest, and so, you know, I would pick them up before meeting with the two ladies, and you know, just even my daughters and going into Harvest House, you know, I mean, they are, you know, spoiled to the hilt, right, with everything, but you know, just them walking in the Harvest House and seeing their faces light up, and you know, my youngest actually has a classmate, I think, you know, who's a foster child, and she's like, oh, I know so-and-so, and, you know, is this where they go, Daddy? And, you know, I mean, it's such a pleasant environment, it's such a great atmosphere, and Bethany, yeah, you know, you guys really do the Lord's work over there, and God bless you for everything that you do. This is the easiest thing for us to be able to help and assist.
Well, again, I can say based on the number of years, the number of decades, I should say, that I know you. I know their dad's a big softie, so you know, like you've got a good house, and these are lessons that, of course, you know, we want to make this a family event too. So you know, bring the whole family. You know, we're going to be socially distant. It's going to be a completely safe environment. But again, this Saturday at Kosciuszko in Tamuning, starting at 8 in the morning, and going all the way until 2. You got a lot of time when you can, you know, bring the family. And Carl, I'm sure you would agree, and Bethany, you know, these are life lessons that we pass down to the next generation, and say, you know, there might not be people in the same situation as you, and it is endemic on you. This is a perfect way to introduce young ones to the concept of Inafa Malik. You know, we take care of our neighbors here on the island. This is what we do.
I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well said, Jason.
Okay, so
I also want to just thank our partners as well. The two of you have just been such a blessing. I mean, when Carl walked in, it is really cool that you can walk into our facility and you don't need too much words to be impacted. You're immediately impacted by what we do. And I appreciate that. I appreciate you taking the time to do a tour at our facility. I appreciate your time, Jason, to get the word out to the community. Who knows how far this will go in our efforts. You know, it may be toilet paper, it may be snacks for foster kids, but it also might be somebody coming by our table at Kosciuszko saying, hey, I've always thought about fostering. How do I become a foster parent?
Mm-hmm.
We have staff there from 8 to 2. We'll walk you through the process.
Absolutely. Well, I would like Bethany to kind of like kind of draw upon like what the mayors did. You know, like the mayor's council, they said when they had their, I believe they started at the end of last year, but they said, you know, their campaign to help foster families is the theme was the gift of family. And I mean, when you think about it, is there any better gift that you can give, like to a loving young person?
There really isn't. I would agree with you. The gift of family is the sweetest gift you can give a child, especially a child that has never experienced what family really is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Love and care and get you the right education and be there for you all the time. These children literally are defined by abuse, abandonment, and neglect. Those 3 words should never be tagged along to a child's name. And that's the reality of what these children are facing. Every story that we hear, every CPS call we get, it gives you chills, it makes you cry, it makes you realize the reality of our neighborhood kids are in the backyard that are struggling from being victims of abuse, abandonment, and neglect, and no child should ever be of harm in that situation. And we're just so grateful for the 50 licensed foster families that have come forward. We're so thankful for every relative that never expects to become a foster parent, but that takes in their relatives' kids. We're so thankful for even the shelters on Guam. We need them because they help us with the emergency situation. So every little bit helps, but if you are here listening thinking, hey, I could offer a home, greatest gift you could give a child in their deepest need of trauma is giving them a family and a home.
Thank you. Beautifully said. Ladies and gentlemen watching right now, members of the Link family, if this interview did not touch your heart, and hopefully your tear ducts, because I know it did for me, Bethany Carr beautifully said and everything. So we'll see you guys 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Kosciuszko in Tamuning. Carl's got like a whole shopping list set up for you guys. All you got to do is go there, open your heart in some fashion, everything like that. You are directly going to benefit the lives of these wonderful young neighbors of ours. So Bethany, thank you and your team at Harvest House. And Carl, always a pleasure. And, shout out to you guys at APL, man. You guys are doing a fantastic job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, take care, you guys. Stay safe. All right, and the link will continue. Please stay tuned because we are back right after this. We'll see you then.
We want to see your football fan love in time for Valentine's Day and the big game on February 14th. KUAM News and KUAM Digital are rounding up and showcasing football lovers all over the island every day before the big game and giving one lucky fan and their loved ones the chance to win the ultimate game day Valentine's bash at home. All you got to do is send an email to promotions@KUAM.com with the subject Love and Football, or tag and send a DM to the KUAM News page on Instagram. Make sure to include your name and contact info and your Love and Football story. Each and every submission will be entered to win a Game Day Love Fest at their home on Valentine's Day, including a brand new 65-inch 4K TV from Buddy's Home Furnishings, party platters from participating restaurants delivered by Uno Go, beverages and swag from Heineken and Stoli, sweet treats, roses for your loved ones, and much more. One lucky winner will be announced on the air on February 11th. Some conditions apply. Winner must be a resident of Guam, must be 21 years or older, and must be available to be featured in a live shot from their home on Game Day, Monday, February 14th.
See KUAM.com for complete rules and regulations. Love and Football is presented by Uno Go and Buddy's Home Furnishings. Let us show you why Buddy's is better. Jamaican Grill, Yaman, together we can. Heaven Sent, the essence of all things beautiful. The Bottle Shack, Heineken and Stoli, enjoy responsibly. And CS Cafe.
Hafa Adai Guam, our community partner APL, invites the public to a donation drive to benefit Harvest House right here at home. Join us on Saturday, February 5th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Costules in Tamuning, where we will be accepting donations. Your contribution would go a long way to supporting our community and those who have come to rely on Harvest House. Any and all donations are welcome. Thank you, Guam. APL, Better Ways. The Culture Club returns to KUAM Digital and KUAM News Weekend Edition, highlighting Guam's young artists, activists, and crafters as they work to protect, preserve, and promote our Tamoto culture. Watch this weekly feature on the digital platforms of KUAM News Weekend Edition, brought to you by Hanum, the freshest bottled water made in Guam.
KUAM Communications continues our perpetuation of our Chamorro culture, language, and heritage, with features available to our listening and viewing audience, including streaming of Chamorro music 24 hours per day on Isla Digital Radio on KUAM.com and the KUAM News app. Chamorro News Update, weekdays on The Link and the KUAM News YouTube channel. Conversations about life in our Chamorro language podcast, Cuentos Tapoco, with Kin Conception. Seasonal specials, shows, and other features highlighting the beauty of our language, culture, and history. It's a new era of our continued commitment to our Chamorro heritage. Isla, watch, listen, stream. Viva Isla!
Pacific Matters is a half-hour news, culture, and lifestyle show focused on issues that impact Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, and the larger Pacific region. Join Tomas Maglonia every Monday to discuss politics, trends, and take a deep dive into the issues changing our island home, because what happens in the Pacific matters.
KUAM's multi-platform morning show, The Link, just got a little more delicious with Feed Me Fridays. Chris, Sabrina, Jason, and the rest of the morning crew will take some time off each Friday to talk, taste, and tempt you with all the latest and greatest food and drinks on Guam. Old faves, new hits, and everything else we can put in our bellies. It's Feed Me Fridays on The Link, brought to you by King's Restaurants, Ruby Tuesday Guam, and Devondale. Real milk from free grazing cows.
Let us know what's up on our KOM News WhatsApp tip line at 671-727-0094. Share information about what's happening in your town, on Guam or the Sinamai, and what you want us to know. Reach us on WhatsApp at 671-727-0094.
See what's on TV tonight with schedules, network news and notes, local promotions and giveaways on KUAM Communications social media pages. Like and follow us on Facebook or Instagram now for all the latest and never miss out.
We know you're tired of hearing about COVID-19. Some of you are probably wondering whether this is ever going to end. However long it takes, we all have to do our part, including our children, to hold the line. You can protect yourself and your family by getting vaccinated.
And if you're already vaccinated, don't let your guard down, because you can still give and get COVID-19. And if you're not vaccinated, remember that if you catch the virus, you could suffer more severe complications. At the end of the day, it's the choices we make to protect ourselves, our families, and our community that will control the spread.
We know it sounds repetitive at this point, but again, wash your hands, watch your distance, and wear your mask.
Together, we have to hold the line.
Buenas Sanhafadi. Part of taking care of yourself is participating in cancer screening. Make it a point to see your doctor at least once a year for an annual visit to discuss your risk and to determine which tests are right for you. Many tests are free or covered by insurance, and there may be programs to help those who don't have insurance. Cancer screening can save your life. There are screening tests that can catch cancer early when it may be easier to treat. So learn more at cancer.org/getscreened.
Join Nestor Lacanto for virtual in-depth discussions with the movers and shakers in our community every Wednesday on In Full Zoom. Presented by IT&D and Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
The KUAM Podcast Network is back and on demand, featuring a great variety of podcasts from our island and region, including culture, lifestyle, awareness, crime, politics, commentary, comedy, and entertainment. Available on most streaming platforms. The KUAM Podcast Network. Subscribe and listen now.
Take in the panoramic beauty of our island each Sunday on the KUM News Instagram with Scenic Sundays. Scroll through the natural beauty of the island on display. Scenic Sundays on the KUM News Instagram is brought to you by Addis Trust and Investment, Location, Service, Trust, and Haagen-Dazs Shops Guam, where every day is made extraordinary.
Listen, watch, and learn from the daily Chamorro news updates from KUAM News. Catch them on the link during the 8 o'clock hour, streaming online on Isla Radio, or on the KUAM News YouTube channel for your convenience. Tune in and stay informed, all while preserving our precious culture through the daily use of our native Chamorro language. Chamorro news updates are brought to you by your familia at First Hawaiian Bank.
The world of television is more exciting than ever. Don't miss a minute of special presentations from NBC on KUAM TV8 or from CBS on KUAM TV11. Every month, we'll bring you the fun and excitement of award shows and red carpet moments, special series presentations, and other great network programs. Brought to you locally by King's Restaurant, Ruby Tuesday Guam, and Docomo Pacific, giving you more reasons to tune in and turn on. Fall in love with TV again with the best from KUAM Communications.
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage, with generations of Filipinos calling Guam home. KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lacanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by KFC and the Medical City, where patients are partners.
Uno Mixed. We're mixing it up on the last Thursday of every month with a look at lifestyle, entertainment, food, and so much more on the stations, networks, and digital platforms of KUAM Communications.
Uno Mixed is presented to you by Docomo Pacific, Better Together, and Pepsi. That's what I like.
The link. Join the conversation now with Chris and Sabrina. Call 637-0094. Breeze 93.9 FM.
Welcome back to the link, everybody. Hope you got some tissue and dried your eyes off after that wonderfully touching and very, very emotional interview about Guam's foster communities. We hope you get involved. Again, that's going to be Saturday from 8 to 2 at Kashiles in Tamuning. Well, opportunity, as they say, waits for no man. Unfortunately, we have a wonderful female member of our community who is creating opportunity and doing just amazing things with entrepreneurship here on the island. The one and only Beauty Camacho, who we've not had on this show in some time. So, Beauty, welcome back to the show. It's been a while, so we're so happy to have you here.
Half a day, Jason. Thanks so much for having me, man. Sorry, just apologizing to everyone. My internet's coming in a little laggy, but just thank you again so much for having me. And I love also listening to any of the promos that our foster community has going on, because like I really want to be a foster parent too in the future. So that's very exciting to hear.
Well, you know, I'm sure those that's in the cards. You know, that's going to happen at some point. You know, because that is your spirit, and you know, anyone that has had the pleasure of knowing you knows, you know, how much you care for the community, and it's about making smart decisions in the right order and at the right time. And I would dare say that also lines up perfectly with your work in entrepreneurship, and you are actually being celebrated right now and awarded, and very justifiably so, for your work with the Female Entrepreneur Association International. You're helping young people and young people, whether they're experienced entrepreneurs that maybe want to pivot or move laterally to another industry, or just people that have never even thought about running their own business, but you know, they may have some spark of an idea in the back of their mind. You're actually helping make their dreams come true. So kudos to you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and it's, you know, it's women of all ages, people of all ages. We do have some men in the Female Entrepreneur Association, but with their memberships, I believe they kind of just do a lot of background stuff, or the companies that they own are geared towards women, related towards women. So it's a really amazing community. And like I've mentioned before, it's like mind blowing still that I'm like the only Islander there from our entire network of almost 1 million people, right? So, and I'm just like, what makes me, like, what did you guys do, or what did I do for you guys to choose me? Because people continue to ask me, like, how did you become a team leader? How did you become a house leader? How did you become a business mentor? And I'm like, honestly, I think it really just comes down to being myself, yes, but also being able to share that island hospitality and that Hafaday spirit that we grew up with. It's so different than what I've experienced anywhere else. So I'm very thankful for, you know, being, of course, raised here on island, as well as with my family and my friends, and just even in the public school system, like how I'm an alumni from Sanchez from class of 2010. And
I'm 1992, man. I'm an old school shark.
Continue to teach the marketing students. Awesome. And you know, like to just being able to be so proud of them in our tourism classes and our marketing classes. Like, they're doing such a great job being able to provide that Hafaday spirit now, of course, with when more tourists come in. But yeah, I'm just very proud to represent.
So that's an important distinction to make, Beauty, because how do you actually take, you know, like who we are as a Pacific people, right, and say that, you know, we're hospitable, we're humble, we take care of people, and how do you combine that with what can be like the very rigid world of business, where, you know, it's all about the bottom line, and you've got the dog eat dog world? How do you actually, you know, combine the two schools of thought while still being an effective competitor in the business world?
Oh man, like for me, I think it's all about collaboration, because yes, I am aware of our competitors, but I look more at them as collaborative partners versus competitors, because if we're all trying to service the same people, like especially with me, I'm mostly involved in helping nonprofit agencies and organizations, you know, it's all for the greater good, right? Like you mentioned, and it's just so important to be able to distinguish yourself as that type of person. Like, I don't want to be a competitor to other people. I want people within my same industry to come to me for assistance, to come to me for help, to be able to say, hey, Budes, I have this problem that needs a solution, and I feel like you might be the person that might help me brainstorm a little bit better to you know, get things going, because I'm just one person. I do have multiple companies, but we need to come together as people, as groups, as whatever industry you're in. That's what unions are for. That's what associations are for, is to get people together who understand your specific frustrations or your highs and your lows. So that's pretty much what the Female Entrepreneur Association does, even though we're connected with thousands of different industries. Entrepreneurship is a whole nother level. And like you mentioned too, it's not just for entrepreneurs what we're a part of, it's for people who do already have degrees or professions, or they're just stay-at-home mommies and they don't necessarily want to label themselves as entrepreneurs, but they do understand that business gets, that's what has cash is making the world go round at the moment, right? So it's something that's needed within their households or their lives at the moment in order for them to live comfortably. And that's pretty much what business does. It allows you to live comfortably, live on your own terms, and especially entrepreneurship, business that's related to entrepreneurship.
And that's such a wonderful thing too, is, like, again, growing up on Guam, we always know that everybody's got like their thing, right? Like somebody might say, oh, I always make cookies for everybody in the village, or, the kids come over, like if they have like a tear in their pants, and somebody will just like, they'll sew it for free, or people like, I'm a math tutor, something like that. How do you actually work with these people to say like you have a gift or you have a passion? To say that,
Right.
you can actually turn this into a successful business, and you can grow this, and you can, like you said, you can, and this isn't just like, you can make a few bucks on the side. This is actual rent money. You can make a livelihood doing what you would normally do for free every single day. How do you actually get them from point A to point B and convince them that this can be done?
Right. So we kind of also encourage them to understand themselves a little bit more and see where they're at in their lives, because you won't get to where you're going if you don't know where you're at the moment. So
very true.
We also provide them a lot of spirituality work and inner work, a lot of healing work. So there's resources and visualizations and audio downloads available for you. So the founder, Kara Green, she's a very spiritual woman, not necessarily religious, but very spiritual and loves personal development. And then for me, I love personal enrichment, not necessarily because personal development is a bad thing, but for me, I think that people need to embrace who they are as they are. And enrichment means that you are loving yourself for everything that you are, and personal development means that you're feeling like you're not enough yet. So that's how I distinguish the two different things. But when we are able to tell people who have those types of skill sets, whether it be sewing or tutoring or teaching, we're able to identify their zone of genius. And that's one of the things that you're mentioning. And many people have lots of different layers of those zone of genius. So it's really important to let them know, like, hey, you don't have to only do one thing, but let's just start off with one thing. And that way you get to get more comfortable in the systems that you enjoy. Like, for example, we teach people how to do podcasting or coaching or courses. And a lot of this creates digital assets for them online, where they can make money while they go to sleep. And that's one of my favorite feelings, is just waking up. I'm like, oh, there's PayPal, coming in, and then you can.
That's always a great way to wake up.
Send it into your bank account. So that's one of the greatest feelings in the world, as well as being able. Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's like mail. You get mail, and there's a check in the mail. So it's just such an amazing feeling, and that's the feeling that I always want people to try to get to. Like, even if it's just their first dollar, that's such a significant milestone for me. So what I also tell my clients to do is to take a screenshot of their first sale or whatever it may be that they're selling, and to share and celebrate all those little wins, because it's really important for people to do that. We don't celebrate ourselves enough, especially because us as islanders, we are very, like you mentioned, humble, and we don't really know how to celebrate ourselves, and we're a little bit mamala and like, oh, are you sure? That type of attitude.
So exactly, Beauty.
To celebrate ourselves a little bit more, it's important.
Yeah. So if this is how you grew up, and most of us did grow up, with that humility and like the island sensitivity. to help out, right? How do you actually kind of like gain confidence without crossing over, into outright narcissism and then rubbing people like the wrong way? Because I'm sure that's something that you cover in this this wonderful Ideas to Income Roadmap Masterclass, which actually happened a couple days ago, but people can watch the on-demand rebroadcast, right?
Right, the replays are available, and I think what comes to it versus like when you're celebrating yourself and celebrating all your achievements and your milestones, it's important to differentiate that, because some people do come off as show-offy or flamboyant, and it's not genuinely, like for me, I'm there to share my success, to inspire other curly-haired girls and brown-skinned kids and Islander kids, to let them know that they can do this too. Because a lot of the times when I was growing up, I didn't see a lot of people who looked like me. Like I've only seen Moana only came out in in the past few years. And so that as a cartoon in regard to inspiration and influence and seeing yourself on screen, it's like, wow, that's amazing, so we need more people, especially in the Islander community, to say, I am here, like how it is in Horton Hears a Who with Dr. Seuss. So there's it's just so important for me to be able to share that, because you can still celebrate yourself without coming off as the show off, because people are going to, once you continue to say thank you to everybody who celebrates you as well, and you show your gift of gratitude, and you continue to hype other people up when they're celebrating themselves too, that really shows that you aren't just about yourself, you're about everybody's celebrations. And that's just so important for me too. So whenever I see somebody celebrating, the littlest thing or the biggest thing, they get the same amount of energy that is a congratulations to them, whether it's $1 or $1 million. I'll be on your post to say congratulations, So I think that's a good part of it.
Is part of the lesson that you teach these young entrepreneurs, Beauty, or I should say first time or new entrepreneurs, success can be very subjective and very broadly defined and everything like that. So it's not just like you said, it's not just, okay, well, I got a bunch of PayPal transactions like over the night. Success may be, did you collab with some of your contemporaries? Did you actually make networking connections that are going to benefit you down the road and everything like that? So when people ask you, how do I know if I'm successful or not? How do you address that question?
Right. That's so important. And I just talked about that, I think the other day, because one of the ladies who was interested in joining our program, she was a bit thrown off because the Female Entrepreneur Association doesn't necessarily stats all the time. So she was worried that her investment, if she invested, wasn't going to give the right amount of ROI, right? So return on investment. And she was just calling us out on as an entrepreneurial association. If you need a financial association or a strictly business association, this might not be the spot for you, because we're all about that self-enrichment and personal development, as well as making those connections on a motherhood level, on a best friend level, on a sisterhood level. So she was wondering, how am I going to make all my money back? And we were just letting her know, what, sometimes it's not just about the money, because when you really, and you choose yourself and you choose finding joy for yourself and doing what you love, the money comes through, especially with the strategies that we have in place. And it's just, those are the important things. Money is important. Money doesn't make you happy, but it makes you comfortable. Because whether you have money or not, you're still going to go through your feelings and emotions, and you might as well be comfortable with it, whether you have, and just because money doesn't matter, as many people say, it's important that you have it because you're gonna end up being whether you have it or not. So might as well have it. So we definitely encourage them to stay on the strategic path that we have, because so many of us have new businesses from scratch to prove that the theories in the Female Entrepreneur Association work. So we use the templates, and we use all of the different strategies, as well as the formats that the FEA offers, and we've experimented with it to show them, like, hey, I've started off again at 0 followers, at a new profile, a new store, whatever it may be, to show them that these work, as long as you continue to put your consistent effort into it, and the energy that you want out of it, it's going to work. So it really just depends on the individual, you know. So we continue to encourage people to really just keep an open mind about things, as well as an open heart to receive. And we talk about money blocks and loads of different things, lots of law of attraction stuff, affirmations, manifestation, very feminine topics that women are starting to liberate more.
Very, very cool. Well, one thing that is absolutely undisputed is anybody from Guam and everything like that, the willingness to take on hard work and really do the job until it's done, like that's not even in question and everything like that. We work hard here and everything. So Beauty, we want to make sure that like you get 1 million DMs and your phone is going to blow up and everything with inquiries. So we're basically opening this up to the entire Link audience and everything. So how can people contact you and get in touch with you if they want to say, you know, I've got ideas, or, you know, like I don't know where to go, or, you know, like I was really inspired with your interview on the Link and everything. How can people get in contact with you?
Sure. I'm available on WhatsApp or phone call. They can give me a call at 1-671-788-9665. And if they feel like they just kind of want to, they're like, no, Butte, sorry, I just want to check out the link, then they can go to, let me just pull it up real quick. I know it was a short.
And by the way, when your cell phone bill gets really high at the end of this month and everything because of all the traffic we brought you, don't invoice us. You're on your own for that one.
No problem. I signed up. So the link would be bit.ly/FEA lowercase REPLAY. So bit.ly/FEA replay.
Gotcha. We'll put that in our comments and everything so everyone can check it out. Well, Beauty, it is always a pleasure and everything like that. Come back on the show anytime. You know you've got a permanent spot here on our show. And thank you for what you're doing for entrepreneurship.
Thank you.
Yeah. A lot of people would say that, you know, because of the situation in the world right now with the pandemic, you know, like it's a weird time. Today, this is a great time to start a business and really make your dreams happen. So, and people like you are actually showing that is possible. Yeah.
All right, awesome. 9:55. We'll go to a quick break right here. Great interview, Jay.
Thank you. Yeah, Beauty is aptly named.
Yeah,
she does a lot of really good things. A beautiful spirit.
Good stuff. It's 9:55. Quick break, and we're closing out the show with Cover Me next, right here on the Link. Good morning.
We want to see your football fan love in time for Valentine's Day and the big game on February 14th. KUAM News and KUAM Digital are rounding up and showcasing football lovers all over the island every day before the big game, and giving one lucky fan and their loved ones the chance to win the ultimate game day Valentine's bash at home. All you got to do is send an email to promotions@KUAM.com with the subject Love and Football, or tag and send a DM to the KUAM News page on Instagram. Make sure to include your name and contact info and your love and football story. Each and every submission will be entered to win a Game Day Love Fest at their home on Valentine's Day, including a brand new 65-inch 4K TV from Buddy's Home Furnishings, party platters from participating restaurants delivered by Uno Go, beverages and swag from Heineken and Soli, sweet treats, roses for your loved ones, and much more. One lucky winner will be announced on the air on February 11th. Some conditions apply. Winner must be a resident of Guam, must be 21 years or older, and must be available to be featured in a live live shot from their home on game day, Monday, February 14th.
See KUAM.com for complete rules and regulations. Love and Football is presented by Uno Go and Buddy's Home Furnishings. Let us show you why Buddy's is better. Jamaican Grill, Yaman, together we can. Heaven Sent, the essence of all things beautiful. The Bottle Shack, Heineken and Stoli. Enjoy responsibly. And CS Cafe.
Marianas Irrigation and Landscape Superstore. Stop on by and visit our showroom today. We offer everyday low prices on all major outdoor power equipment like bush cutters, chainsaw, power washer, generators, and more. Need service, repair, maintenance? Well, check out Guam's best superstore only at Marianas Irrigation and Landscape, located in Barragata along Army Drive between Submarina and Besta Market. Call 735-7446 for more information. Now shipping to surrounding islands. Marianas Irrigation and Landscape Superstore.
Hafaday Guam, our community partner APL, invites the public to a donation drive to benefit Harvest House right here at home. Join us on Saturday, February 5th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Costules in Tamuning, where we will be accepting donations. Your contribution would go a long way to supporting our community and those who have come to rely on Harvest House. Any and all donations are welcome. Thank you, Guam. APL, Better Ways.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Pizza Hut stuffed crust is the crust that made crust good. Topped and stuffed with over a half pound of cheese. What are you so afraid of? Loving it? Original stuffed crust, only from Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Do you feel like you're missing out on something? Make life more rewarding with Pacific Points. Earn and redeem points for bill rebates and free load at IT&E, discounts on fuel at Shell, vouchers at Foodies, and United Mileage Plus miles. You can even pay with Pacific Points at IT&E, Shell, and Foodies. Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
Good job.
Joe, sir, awesome work. Jason, as always, spectacular.
Also, just a heads up, the governor, we just got the notice from Adelup that the acting governor will be signing. There's going to be a signing ceremony at, I believe, 10:30 this morning. The acting governor will be signing Bill 230. I believe that's the war claims compensation bill.
Yeah.
And Bill 83. So the media won't be able to ask questions because they're going to be streaming it live on their Facebook page.
Yeah.
So again, that is 10 o'clock this morning.
There you go. Good morning, KUAM TV, and on the Breeze side, we're KUAM FM. I got you, Guam. We're leaving you with Cover Me, brought to you by Burger King. Remember, they got the Italian original chicken sandwich, and they also do drive-through Mondays on Mondays, where every 10th car gets a free Whopper. Again, it's a Cover Me, brought to you by Burger King and Docomo Pacific. My name's Chris, for Jason Salas, Sabrina Joser, and the entire Link fam. Esta Adjo!
Bye!
Let me be your king. Let me take you to places that you ain't never been. Hold you inside of my arms, babe. Can't get you out of my head. Hold you inside of my arms, babe. I hold you inside of my head. You can be my angel. Let me be your king. Let me take you to places that you ain't never been. Hold Hold you inside of my arms, babe. Can't get you out of my head. Hold you inside of my arms, babe. I hold you inside of my head. I swear you act like you got no time for me. And the way that you move mesmerizes me. Why you gotta act like that? Ooh, why you gotta act like that? No, I like it when you take that stroke. I like the way you put it on me. I like it when you pop it slow. Cause I ain't tryna bust till the morning. Let me cook, clean, steam for you. Let me take you to places I done dream for you. I can undo your straps on your heels for you. Let's forget about the past, now it's real for you. You can be my angel. Let me be your king. Let me take you to places that you ain't never been. Hold you inside of my arms, babe. Can't get you out of my head. Hold you inside of my arms, babe. I hold you inside of my head. You can be my angel. Let me be your king. Let me take you to places that you ain't never been. Hold you inside of my arms, babe. Can't get you out of my head. Hold you inside of my arms, babe. I hold you inside of my head. We can hit it to the left, 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 left. Step back. I can take you to the west, 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 west. Roll back. We can hit it to the left, 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 left. Step back. I can take you to the west, 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 west. Roll back.